Wow, I was so cool and I screwed it up because I forgot to push the mute button. Dadgummit. Of course I duffed it. Why wouldn't I duff it? Yeah, well. So we'll try this again. Good morning. How you doing? It's a Saturday. Means no work and all play. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to play today. We're going to eat too, because there's lots and lots and lots out there to eat. Oh, man. So, let's see here. I see I've got the great Joey Westside in the waiting room. Joy, bear with me just a little bit. I will pull you in, brother. I will let you talk here in just a moment. I surely will. But just let me kind of go through my stuff here first, and then I'll get you right in, my man. Okay? All right. So if any of you guys were watching Twitter over the last, I'm going to say 12 to 15 hours, something like this, this is going to make sense to you this morning. And if it doesn't make sense to you, then why are you not watching me on Twitter? That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. That's it. Boomer meme. That's all right. I got a boomer for you. So, I've talked about this a couple of times, and my buddy Brick is a madman. He's an absolute madman, right? He has been covering, I believe, the fish tank since basically it went live or shortly thereafter. He's still going, guys. He is still, he's live here. He is actually live right now. He's got 31 people watching him. And they're covering it. They've even got clips and shorts that's going. When he first started this like basically 24-hour stream thing that he's got going, guys, I'm gonna tell you something. He had, I want to think maybe sub 100 subs, something like that, under 100 subs, something like that. And now he's got 636. He's still growing. He still, has at times, hundreds of people watching him. And it is just, I'm tickled to death. The dude's going for it. And I hope he, gets, I hope he actually gets an invite to the fish tank. I hope he becomes a part of the crew, because listen, Brick is a very, very entertaining dude. So guess who just showed up over on the fish tank? Don't know how he managed it. Don't know how. I don't know anything about it other than Turkey Tom himself. That's right. The gobbler man showed up over on the fish tank. There's a picture of him there. Here's another tweet that was put out where he was sitting there talking with Airsoft Fatty. And then he put out this video. I have this little Twitter video. I don't even know what it's about. So let's watch it real quick.
We losers, creeps, and pedos in this bitch. We losers, creeps, and pedos in this bitch.
So I guess that's him dressed up in white. I guess that's what it says. Jet didn't tell me not to talk. My bad. Oh. Wow. guess he kind of broke the rules. I don't know anything about the thing other than it's like for real, like what do you call it? Reality show, right? There's some really good news for a lot of you simps out there. Yeah. Amaranth is getting her very own AI companion to allow fans to chat with her at any time. So there you go. You two can have a one-on-one conversation with Amaranth's AI and whatever. I don't understand. I don't. Oh God, simps be simping. I guess. Hell, I don't know. I know I'm kind of rushing through this though, but I just want to kind of get through all this stuff that's kind of really, you know what I'm saying. And I wanted to get into the meat and potatoes today as quickly as possible. So this one here, I saw this. Willie Mack tweeted out this Twitter little Twitter video here.
If there's someone that's very, very young and goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20, a year into the relationship, it gets really, really abusive. Even though it might be rare from what you guys think.
It is.
If it would
it's not as rare as it needs to be. How about that? Let's just say that.
happen, what would you recommend for those people? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
Keep going.
You can't divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be.
Can't divorce. It's not a real thing. Yeah, stay in there, ladies. So the takeaway there is, ladies, if or guys, either way, if you get married and 2 to 3 years into the relationship, he's beating the dog shit out of you, or she's beating the dog shit out of you on a regular basis, divorce is not an option. You stay in there, you take your fucking licks, and that's the end of it. That's the end of it. We ain't having it. You just stay in there, you take your fucking licks. You learn to keep your mouth shut and just do what you're told.
Be like physically abusive.
You got to endure. People are too.
You want to stick into the
People
relationship?
are
Is it
just.
possible?
I mean, look,
people
I'm gonna be
nowadays
honest.
are just.
You're just a pussy. If you cannot endure a few smacks upside the head, you're just a fucking pussy. That's all it is to it. Somebody should really grab this guy in his purty little mouth. And this bitch here, he needs to be, how should I say? He needs to be Ned Beatty, Deliverance style.
For anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay,
Endure.
I'll tell
Would
you
they
what.
give up
I'll tell you
divorce?
what. It is such an extreme example that I can't give a prescription for what other people should do.
What about if two people get married, they have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely. Jesus himself said in cases of adultery, divorce is
So you think that
permissible.
divorce is
So, divorce, okay, she go out, she get a little side dick, that's a no-no. Can't do that. Nope. Divorce her, leave her penniless, leave her destitute. Hell, leave the kid because, may not be yours, right? Because why? Because she's out here whoring around anyway, right? So we'll just leave her. But she should stay there. He should stay there, whatever the scenario is. Take that beating. Take a few punches. Quit being a pussy. Just take it. Just endure. Just endure. I have never in my life heard such hog shit in all my life is what these idiots, these, I'm going to tell you something. These guys right here, and I don't even like using the term guys, right? But this idiot number one right here, where's he at? Idiot number two, these idiots from this quote manosphere shit, they are not men. They are 100%, they're not fucking men. They're not. They are 100. The whole thing about being, quote, a alpha male, the whole thing about being a true male is you're supposed to protect, right? You're supposed to look over, watch over, take care of, right? You're not supposed to beat the shit out of them, right? You're just not. That's not alpha. That's some basic beta bullshit bitch moves is what that is. So anyway, So let's get into the meat and potatoes. I'm gonna pull Joey in here. Good morning, Mr. Westside, and how you doing this morning?
Hello, Riv. I've
Hey,
been
you-
listening to you all day. How are
Have
you
you?
doing, son?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How's their wife?
The wife is wonderful. She's still in
I've
bed.
done with her. She's in bed. Like I left her in bed.
Did you? Well,
I did.
yeah. So since you know what, I'm gonna
Can't get his words out, ladies and gentlemen. Can't get his words out, ladies and gentlemen. Can't get his words out.
Nope. That's not it at all. I was gonna take the high road. I was gonna get down in the mud with you there and water a little bit, but I'm not gonna do that.
Your missus was in the mud with me. Yeah.
Was she? Okay.
Yeah, she was in the clear as mud. You know
In the
what I'm
clear
saying?
as mud. Oh shit! All right, so River, are we digging into rotten fruit? No, Slug, we're not digging into rotten fruit.
Rotten fruit. I am rotten fruit. You know what I'm saying?
No, Joey, you're not rotten fruit. See, I had a little conversation with Slug the other day because Slug was.
To be honest, Slug is Slug. Slug he's annoying. He's a prick.
But you know what? I honestly think Slug.
I actually like Slug. He actually makes good content. He actually makes good shows. The only thing is with Slug, stop doxing people, please.
Yeah. We don't want to do that.
Please stop doxing people, please, Slug. Please.
You know, the thing of it is, Slug is trying to.
He's trying to make up for his what he done. I think.
Well, he's trying to choose a new path in life, right?
Yeah.
And
no, I'm all about that, Riv. I'm all about that. All about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Slug and Slug and I have conversations every once in a while. And I gave him some advice. I said, you know, Slug, there is all kinds of fruit, right? There's high hanging fruit, there's middle hanging fruit, then there's low hanging fruit, and then there's fruit that's fallen on the ground and it's just rotten. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to get the low hanging fruit and you don't want to get the fruit that's on the ground rotten, right? You just don't want to, right? And what I'm talking about is like these battles that he gets into with people, right? Some of these people that he gets into these battles with, they're low hanging fruit, right? Yeah, it's kind of fun because it's easy to grab and it's easy, you know, and they're real easy to manipulate and they're real easy to fuck with. And especially if they're on the ground, right? You just kind of step on them and squish them. There's really not a whole lot there. So it doesn't take any effort. And those are ones you just don't, you know, if you want to be a higher creator, you know, make better content stuff, don't mess with those guys that are on the ground. Don't even mess with the ones that's hanging on the low limbs. You want to reach higher. You want to get for those higher caliber ones, right? Because that makes you a better content creator. And so I've been that's all it is, right? So he's asking because, of course, he knows what we're going to talk about this morning. We're going to talk about. Let me share my screen here so that you can see.
Please do. Please do. So I can see.
Okay. So here we go. This is okay. So you started a new venture, and it's called the All Right Podcast, and for whatever reason, I don't know why. But he only has 24 subs, and so Coffee Beans, I think you know what you have to do here, right?
That's 24 subs because it's awful. It's dog shit podcast.
Well, okay, so everything starts somewhere, right? Everything
I
starts
actually
somewhere.
I actually want to shout out, not my podcast, but I want to shout out Eva because she done the thumbnail, she done the tag, everything. Eva does all the editing. I pay her for everything.
I'm gonna tell you something. Eva is a gem. She is truly a gem. I love her.
She actually is.
Yes,
she actually is. I love it a bit.
Well, D-Max says he thinks the podcast is all right, Joey.
Oh, thank you, D-Max. Thank you, D-Max. I actually, I said some good things about D-Max the other day.
Why?
I think you're
Why?
No, I actually think D-Max is his mom. Actually, maybe I should be shouting out his mom.
Yes, the mom is D-Max's mom is phenomenal. She's awesome. She is a true queen.
Mate, I've seen what she looks like as well. She's beautiful.
Oh, yes.
Beautiful. Oh God, man, Riverter.
Mm-hmm.
She likes you as well. Oh, she's
Oh,
beautiful.
yes.
Suck your own butthole. You're doing
she,
great.
you know what she said to me, Riv? She says, "I want Riverter to be D-Max's new daddy." That's what she said to me.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
what she said.
So I just got a donation. Says, "Good morning, people. Who is this faggot?" I wonder who that could be.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it.
I think they're talking about you, Joey, my man. Why is that? I wonder why that is. That's interesting. That's interesting. So anyway, let's get back to you for a second here. So you started this little venture, and listen, you go back and you look at even, like Clear as Mud podcast, stuff like that. It was hot garbage when Banana first started out, but we've kind of learned the trade. We've kind of learned the craft a little bit better. And I think because we've added these three very talented, intelligent, and lovely young women to our show, I think it's going to do nothing but get better, personally.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah,
with
yeah.
The Clear as Mud thing. Can I actually be honest with you?
Yes, brutally, please be brutally honest with me.
I think you've added too many women. I think you've changed it too much.
You think so?
I think you need to drop either Eva or Seth.
You think I should drop?
Gigi's great. No, Gigi's great. I think the podcast would have been amazing if you just added Gigi.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
I'm being completely serious now. I'm not joking. I'm not memeing. And
yeah,
Gigi's amazing.
She is.
But
She
the rest
truly.
of them, the other two.
Yeah, but you
I
don't
think you
like
could do
Seth
that.
though. Yeah, but you don't like Seth though, right?
That's my girl. She's my home girl. I love her.
Oh,
to
so
bits. She's
you-
like one
so
of my
you like-
closest friends.
Okay, so you like Seth though. So you just don't want Seth to be successful. Is that what it is then?
No, it's not that, Reeve. I'm
Do you-
not, I'm
okay, so-
actually- I'm not even memeing now. I'm not even memeing.
Okay. So here's the deal. I know what you're saying, right? So there's maybe too much of a feminine side now or feminine position, but what I will tell you is
not even that. Not even that.
okay.
Not even that.
So then, because I'll be honest with you, like for example, Thursday night when we did our stream, Seth, I thought did a phenomenal job. She had a contrary opinion to primarily me because it was her and I that was kind of going back and forth. Banana.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love Seth to bits.
Yeah, and so
my only criticism is too many women. It's like 3 women to 2 men. And the thing is, I think you've changed the podcast too much. I know you was going in you wanted to take it in a different direction.
I do.
I think you've changed it too much.
You know what? Time will tell. Time will tell.
Yeah.
And you may be right. You may be right.
No, I'm not doing that to shit on it or being
No,
no.
I understand, and but here's the real reason, right, behind all this, is Banana's job is changing, right, and so Banana's work schedule.
Congrats, Banana.
Yes,
privately. I won't reveal what he does for a living.
No, we won't reveal.
Hard.
Yeah,
he's working hard.
He is doing what a young man his age needs to be doing. He's climbing the ladder. He's making.
Any girls out there who think he's attractive, hit him up. Message him.
Yeah, he needs a little love and attention. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
But with Banana kind of being limited on what he can come and do these days, I truly wanted there to be like 4 people on the podcast, right? And
I think 5's too many. I think 3 women is too many.
Okay, well, that's fine. I don't, and we'll see what happens.
I think Gigi is the best, but your mic is too low, by the way, Gigi.
Well, we're going. Okay, give her a chance. She's working on that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So anyway,
Gigi is the best. Gigi is the best.
She came in as a what do you call it? Like a surprise, right? Because I didn't know anything about her. but
She's the best.
her background and what she does for a living and stuff is just
Look, look, she honestly is like, she's so funny.
and
Literally, she's so funny.
listen, guys, I'm gonna tell you something, okay? Because she shared a little bit better picture with us in our private part of where we were meet for our staff meetings and things. And she's working on getting a cam and stuff. I'm gonna tell you something. She's easy on the eyes too, guys. She is a beautiful woman. Beautiful woman.
So is your mom. So is your mom.
I know. My mom's a wonderful woman. My mom did a wonderful thing for me, by the way, Joy.
She whacked you off.
No, she didn't whack me off, you degenerate. She went on a recent road trip, and she went into a state where you can get cannabis recreational.
Oh, really? Your mom started smoking weed?
No,
No
she
way.
she didn't go that route, but she got her some edibles.
Mm.
And so she may have brought me back a few and stuff, and I've had some the last couple of days, and because I have the arthritis and stuff, and dude, it's like I take what the little recommended dosage or whatever, and like within 30 minutes or so, all my aches and pains are gone. I feel like a teenager again, man. It's I'm gonna have to look at getting me a card because we have it here in Arkansas, but you have to have a medical card to get it. So that pretty much has made up my mind. I'm gonna get me a card. I'm gonna start the process, and that's just it. I'm gonna get it because it just gave me too much relief for me not to pursue it. So anyway, so there you go. That's that. So anyway, let's get back to you and your podcast here for a second, because that's really what I want to talk about here. And I see I've got some callers, Liana, Slug. I'll get you guys, I promise. Just bear with me here. All right. So you put out this first one, says Matt Pitt exposed. And you and your guest, potentially co-host because I listened to the video, it kind of shifted to where you two were talking about doing a running podcast, the two of you together, right? And so it raised some eyebrows, to say the least. Is that a fair statement, Joey? Do we lose you? Okay. All right. So it raised little eyebrows. There were some people who had some concerns, right? And then you started alluding to a second episode. And I even kind of busted your balls because you said it was going to be out earlier, and I kind of came at you pretty hard about it. And I said, we said, if you didn't do it, then, whatever. So you dropped this one last night. And I'm going to tell you, this came out last night. I was already in bed. I was kind of getting ready to hit the hay for the evening, whatever. And I got a notification on my phone, and it came up because, that's to let me know that you had dropped this video. So I got my glasses, picked up the phone, everything, and I watched this video last night.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. What do you think? I mean, your style of exposure or whatever with your former, I guess, quote unquote co-host, we'll just go that route.
Cajun, yeah.
Yeah, I don't give the man sales win any
No,
win.
neither do I. Hujan, I'll expose it right now. Hujan is a piece of shit. He's a disgusting human being.
Yeah.
I think Hujan is desperate for attention. If you look at Hujan's tweets, he only gets 1-2 likes, even if that. Most of his tweets, he gets no likes. Have you noticed that, Riverter? He gets no likes. No. Before you speak,
go ahead.
I'll speak more. He's a disgusting human being. Fuck him. He's fuck him. basically. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Fuck
And
him.
so I know that you were kind of having some sport with him and fun with him and all that.
No,
And
yeah. Can I explain myself? Or do you
yeah,
want to explain it first?
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I did that podcast with him.
Yeah.
And I did that because I wanted to get the his explanation, his life story on basically everything.
Yeah.
And by episode 2, which I have released now, which you've heard, haven't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I listened to it last night. Sure did.
I wanted everyone to be like, "What the fuck, Joey? What the fuck?" And because I don't like Hoojan, I don't like anything about the guy.
Yeah.
So go on.
So there was one thing that I
go on.
I found kind of interesting, and there was a segment in here.
Oh.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're gonna play?
Oh. Yeah, here just a second here. Let me just look at the transcript. Let me find what it is.
Yes.
Where is it? There it is. Fine. Okay. So there was this one little section, and this is one that's kind of perked my ears up, right? So I listened to it, whatever. So this little section here, of course, we went through the introduction, whatever, in the ruse, and you've kind of you've made your feelings how you really feel about him, and you guys have went back and forth and what have you. But this is where we start talking about Mitch.
Okay, go on.
And so the only time that I ever interacted with this person was when he made this to me, which I felt was like a quasi-serious allegation, because he had claimed that Mitch had doxed him. And he based all this off of 2 indiscriminate messages.
Do you know Hoojan admits to lying about this?
Yes, that's what we're fixing to talk about. Yeah. He 2 indiscriminate little messages and stuff that kind of alludes a little bit, but doesn't allude to. I mean, it's real speculative. And then the big coup de grace that he thinks or that he feels is that a pizza showed up to his mom's house randomly. Yeah. That's his smoking gun. A pizza showed up. Yep. And that right there, 100% proves that Mitch doxed him. And so when I saw this interaction that was going on Twitter that day, I had taken my wife to get some work done on her car. And so I was sitting in the...
I'll tell you what, Rick, she needs some work done on her face, to be honest. She's ugly.
My wife?
I'm joking.
What the, Joey? How much caffeine have you had today?
A lot.
Mm-hmm. I tell you what, I know you've got this lovely young lady that has entered into your life.
Right, she's right next to me now.
Is she?
When I said that,
I hope
she shook her head when I said
I'll
that.
tell you what she needs to do. She doesn't need to shake her head. She needs to reach over and grab you by your bollocks and give him a good fucking squeeze is what she needs to do.
Oh, do you hear that, babe?
Yeah. Just give him a good squeeze. If we hear Jerry squeal here in a minute, we know that the lovely lady's got him under control. But anyway, so I start trying to have a actual rational, reasonable conversation with this person. And he went off on this tangent, and then he blocked me. And I was like, well, that's the rational thing to do. I mean, that's what a sane person does, right? You try to have a conversation, and then they just block you. Yeah. So I was like, okay, whatever. So then I did kind of fuck with him a little bit about the block and stuff, because he'd come in and he'd tweet at me underneath, through a block and shit. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna fuck with him.
Of course, yeah.
And so then I just kind of got tired of it. I was like, it's not even worth my time. But let's listen to this interaction here, because
here we go. Has Mitch got your address? Didn't he send you a pizza?
Either way, I don't care whether he did or didn't. Is it one of them where you're that upset?
You lied about that. You lied about that, didn't you?
Is that how much I've upset you, Joey?
No. You lied about that, didn't you, Hoojan?
Yeah.
You lied about
Yeah. You see that? He says, you lied about that. He goes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So Hugin admits that he lied, that all that was just for, I guess, his amusement, his joy. I don't know. I mean,
You know why I tell you he lied? I'll admit this right now, people.
what's
You know
that,
why
brother?
he does that? He's begging for attention.
You know what he
Begging
is?
for
You know what he
attention.
is? You know what he is?
Yeah, go on.
He's a pick me.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
He is 100% a pick me. And here's the thing, right? Guys, everybody that's listening to my voice, with people like this that are pick me's, that every time you turn around, they're tweeting at you, or they come in with your tweets and they say some kind of just I don't know, spastic shit. The best possible. Don't block them. Don't block them, because blocking.
You know the best thing.
You just mute them. You just mute them. Yeah.
No, not even mute. You know what you do, people?
What's
You
that,
just
man?
You ignore.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you ignore them, you don't interact with them, right? But if you get tired of the spastic, the pick me that comes underneath your tweets, or the constant tagging on the tweet, whatever, if you mute them, then you don't get those anymore, and you don't see the pick me, look at me, I'm special, I'm Princess Polly, look at me, look at my little golden curls, pick me. No, you just don't hear them, and they just wither up, and they dry, and they go away. And that's what needs to happen to this guy. He just needs to wither up and dry and go away. So there you go.
The thing is, I'll even admit this now.
Yeah.
Hugin is pathetic. He's like a pathetic human being.
Here's the thing. If
the thing is, Riv, he's got no friends.
Yeah, well, I think that's obvious. And
No, you know what? I'm going to say this now. Maybe I know I can picture him tweeting about this now.
Yeah.
I think he's jealous. I think he's jealous of the friends.
Yeah. Well,
I genuinely do.
But
I reckon. I genuinely think he wishes he was friends with the now recording boys.
Yeah.
He wishes he was friends with Salvo. He wishes he was friends with people. I think he's jealous.
Here's a little insight. Whatever. When I was a young lad, I was in school and stuff. I was an outcast. I was ostracized. I was not allowed in any of the little groups. I was so ostracized, even the band people, the band, and I was in the band, and I still was not accepted. Right.
Yeah.
So I understand wanting to belong to a group, to be accepted. Everybody desires to be accepted, right? And for a long time, that had me really bitter. It had me really, really bitter, because I was like, damn it, I feel like I'm a funny person. I feel like I'm entertaining. I feel like I'm somebody that should, But what I realized was, it was not necessarily a them issue. It was a me issue. And I had to learn to get to where, number one, I liked myself. Number two, I did not have to make every conversation about myself. I did not have to be the focal of attention. And develop a little bit of a personality that is not a wet rag. And so, it took a while, right? The person you see before you right now is not that person who, when I was in my 20s and 30s, right? It took a while for me to develop that. And so maybe, hopefully, one of these days, he will wake up and realize that you don't have to be the focal point. You don't have to be the center of attention. And people will start accepting you. But the thing of it is when you have one person that actually tolerates you, that you have on your streams, that you constantly tell them to shut up, that you constantly belittle them, and you basically treat them. Now it could be it could be a running joke on his part. Very well could be. But I'll tell you, it's not received that way by the people who consume your content, which are not that many. You might want to think about that.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, but What do you plan on doing with your channel now that you've kind
I'll
of?
tell you what I'll do with my podcast. I might as well announce it right now. What I'm going to do with my podcast, the All Right Podcast,
Yep.
I'm going to every week I'm going to have a different person on from the community,
Okay.
and we're not going to talk about community politics or anything. We're going to
Okay.
talk about that life.
Well, you know what? I think
it's going to be. We're going to introduce life, anything like that.
well, you know
Does
what?
that good, Riff?
That sounds great. I think that sounds wonderful. I think that's so you can
I
kind of
want to get to know these people.
yeah.
So can I announce my next episodes? Is that
Sure.
okay?
Go ahead.
So I got Riverter on my next episode.
Okay.
After that, I got Matt Pitt.
Oh.
Yeah. I
So
got the Matt Pitt interview.
yeah. So
Yeah,
who
I
else?
got Trippy Savage.
Trippy Savage.
I got Banana Grabber.
Well, you're just going higher and higher up the chain there, aren't
I
you?
got Tommy C. So I look
Mm.
forward to that one. I got to look forward to that one, Tommy
Yeah.
C.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
who else
go on.
have you got anybody else or
Yeah, I got 2 more surprise guests after that.
Ooh.
And when I say surprise guests, they are highly influential YouTubers. So
Awesome.
look
Awesome.
forward to that.
Joey, I tell you what, I think a channel kind of based on that of people in this community where they could go, and maybe I would hope that the people when you're interviewing them, if they have like a bit that they do when they're online, maybe they kind of set that aside and they just be themselves a little bit, and you can kind of maybe let people see that side of them, right?
Yeah.
So
That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm going
Yeah.
for, Reeve. Yeah.
Well, that's great, man. But what you might just a recommendation here.
Yeah, go on. I
Yeah.
appreciate all the advice. I
Yeah,
can get.
maybe don't talk about bedding their wives and shit like that. That might get it off on a bad start. I don't know. So
Okay, we'll see.
but you've got to be you too, right? So I
Yeah,
get that.
yeah,
I get that 100%. Listen, guys, this sounds like a lot of excitement. I'm actually excited for what Joey's going to do with this. He's got some, me or whatever. You guys see me every morning and whatever, but he's got some really good people lined up. Matt Pitt, Banana Grabber, Trippy Savage, Tommy C.
Tommy C.
He's got and a couple of special ones that he doesn't want to, and that's cool. Oh, dude, I don't know if you can see chat or not, but did you see who just said they wanted to do an interview with you?
Who?
Bunny Buttons.
Oh, I want Bunny because I want to ask her. Bunny, stay online for a minute. Bunny, I want to ask you about your cam soda stuff. I actually do.
Yeah.
Bunny, can you stay online? Bunny, can you DM me on Discord? Because I actually want to message you about all that stuff.
I will. You know what? I will make sure that you two get connected. How's that?
Thank you, people.
I will, because I would love to see you two have a conversation. Because I'm gonna tell you something.
My girlfriend won't like it because.
Listen.
She knows I'm a fan of Bunny.
But listen, Joey's girlfriend. I'm gonna tell you something. Listen to me. You can trust the people. Bunny is a sweetheart. She's just a good old country girl, and she makes her money how she makes her money, and bless her for that. But she is a good person.
Suck your own butthole. You're doing great.
Well, thank you. I love sucking my own butthole. Slug says, thought TFW, I got a question for you, Joy. Uwu. Banana. Fuck. Slug, quit the uwu shit. You're not some damn teenage girl. Let's bring Slug in because he's being a pick me.
I'm leaving the call if Slug joins.
No, he wants to talk to you and he's being a pick me.
Actually, my girlfriend hates Slug.
Why does she hate Slug?
She hates his voice, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you don't want to talk.
It's okay. Let him join.
All right, Slug. Better make it quick because you're on the clock here. And he's going to duff it.
All right, get him out. Kick
You know
him,
what?
Kick him.
Not definite. Had to fix microphone. Joey, How have you been? And why does your girlfriend hate me? I'm so confused and
It has
scared.
your voice, I told her about all the doxing stuff back in the day.
Yeah, I've been doxing free for half a year.
The thing is, though, I think you're going to dox people again.
Trust me, I've had people try and bait me to do it again. I'm like, you're not worth it. Stop.
I'll tell you what, Peapod, do you trust this guy?
Well, I'm put it like this, and I'll say this publicly so everybody knows this. Okay, if Slug goes back to his old ways, if he starts doxing and shit, his channel to be or avenue to talk to me will be permanently severed. I will put Slug in the waste zone. I won't even acknowledge him anymore. Slug will cease to exist. So Slug needs to consider that. If I have any weight, if he wants to continue any type of communications with me at all, if that carries any weight in his life, then if he starts doing that shit, then I'm out the door. It's just that simple.
Yep.
It's just that simple. I will say this. I think Slug has made some good strides. He's still kind of every once in a while he'll slide back into some, and I'll send him a little word of encouragement, and he said, yeah, you're right. And he'll just, he'll get back on so, I can't be a person or a proponent who says, you know what, we have to give people second chances. We cannot, and you give us, and people say, well, Slug's had 1,000 chances. Okay, fair. But he's never had a second chance from me. And if I'm the one that's given the second chance, I think it's up to me to determine if it's a second chance or not. So.
Plus, kind of a bit of background. I actually lost everyone during the Salva shit, and that was more of a hard reset. Yeah. There were people actually behind the scenes in my real life that I lost because of that shit. So it wasn't like, oh, he's just losing online friends. No. I lost IRL friends because of that shit. So, no, I had a hard fucking reset. So, like, of course I'm still a fucking asshole. Like, that's not a new thing.
Yeah, and that's fine, but you can temper it a little bit, and you're trying, and for that I do commend you for that. And you're, like I say, you made a change, and you're starting down a new path as far as what I can see. But like I say, if you start reverting, then
trust me, it wouldn't just be you in the community. Few friends of mine IRL have been on my ass as well.
Good.
So it's not just you guys.
Yeah.
They're like, you revert back to this because now there's money involved as well.
Yep.
And a lot of shit can fuck up.
Yeah. All right. So you said you had a question for Joey. So go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah. So Joey.
Yeah.
How was the rotten fruit?
Mate, the orange was amazing.
How was the penicillin?
Mate, it's amazing. Like, can I tell you, can you see the fruit outside right now? Can you see?
Yeah. A little bit, yeah.
Can ya? Can you see?
Oh, Lordy. Not really.
No?
No.
Why do you dox people?
Suck your own butthole. You're doing great.
I'm not proud of it. When I did it, it was a reaction of, okay, I want to get as down and dirty as they would. And after a while, it's just, looking back, it's just, oh, I had no way to respond.
You like my podcast? All right, podcast. You like it?
Yeah. I watched the Matt Pitt episode, and I'm waiting to watch the huge one.
Let's episode 2. Let's go. Let's listen.
You want to listen to episode 2?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to rob you of views, though.
Who's your? What's your name? Sorry, Slug.
Yep, Slug.
Oh, it's actually your name, Slug. Is it actually your name, Slug?
Nah, my real name is Kevin Hill. I'm fine with saying my name online.
All
I
right,
even
Kevin. My name's Joseph Westwood. I use my
Nice to
real
meet
name
ya.
online as well. Yeah, nice to meet you as well.
yeah.
Is
The
that
Matt
actually
Pitt
your
one I
name?
liked. Yeah.
I actually respect this man, people. It doesn't matter.
Why? Why do you? Because he's willing to say what his real
Because
name
he's
is.
willing to say his real name. I respect that. Because I'm willing to respect my real name, like Joseph Westwood.
Yeah.
I'm willing to, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
so
just a name.
okay. So I do have one little bit of a critique, if I may, about your video.
Go on, you fat cunt. Go on.
Okay. So the reason why I'm a little bit hesitant in showing this video, Joey, is that there's a section of the video where you share screenshots from DMs, right?
Yeah.
And there's some information in there, and I know you're comfortable with saying your real name and all that, and that's fine. That's your choice, whatever.
Yeah.
But you also have like your street address and stuff in here, dude. And I know that's been put out there before, and I know you're cool with that and all that.
My street address is
whoa.
we're live now. Go on, Riverter. What was you saying?
So I'm not comfortable with that, Joey.
I am. I'm comfortable.
I know you are, but I'm not. So
I'm sorry, Riv.
and not only that, but there's some information that I don't know if it's real or not. I'm gonna treat it as such.
Go on, say anything in that anything in that podcast is available private
Public.
Publicly. Go on.
So
kind
anyway.
of to
Say, all right, say it, Slug. Go on, say.
Kind of to build off of Riveter's point, even though it may be public, it can still be used maliciously.
Yeah.
That's
use it maliciously. I give people right now to use it.
No. Joy, you know what? Listen, Joy, you know that I like you, and I think you're a good dude, and I love our banter back and forth. I love our little quirks and stuff we do. But I'm not okay with that.
My girlfriend.
I am not okay with that at all.
My friend just nudged me. You go, stop it.
Exactly. No. Stop it. Because here's the thing. There could be people, Joey, who honestly, truthfully, could do some horrendous stuff. And the thing of it is I know you kind of feel like this is all giggles and laughs and this, that, and there's no big serious thing about it. But there could be some serious ramifications, my dude. And
there's not always laughing, there's no.
Okay. Well, we're just going to have to be one of those deals where we're going to have to agree to disagree. And that's fine. I still consider you a friend, and I still want to, but that's just something that, I'm just not cool with. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. So Liana would, I think, so Slug, if you don't mind, I'm gonna drop you out. Thanks
for
calling in.
No
Appreciate
worries.
you, buddy. And I'm gonna bring Liana in. Okay. Peace, buddy. Yeah. So good morning, Liana. How are you this morning, darling? Oh, she's muted. All right.
Hello. Hold
good morning. How are you doing this morning?
You're so ugly, Liana. You're so ugly.
I'm on my way to Joey's house right now with a bomb.
There you are. You're so ugly.
Come on now, guys.
You're so ugly.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it?
I don't
Bye,
know.
Joey.
Bye, Liana. Have a good one, hon.
No, don't kick me. Kick Joey.
Kick Joey?
Kick me.
Riv, if you kick me, I'll fucking end your life.
You think so?
Riv, I just want to say that you're doing a phenomenal job and your hair looks amazing today.
Well, thank you, darling. I appreciate that.
Well, there's no need to joke. Jesus Christ.
not funny calling me ugly. All right, John from fucking Fish Tank
You
called
are
me
ugly,
ugly. It
though.
triggered
You are
me.
ugly. You are ugly. Jesus Christ.
Oh, see, now you hurt her feelings, Joey. She's not ugly. She's a beautiful young lady.
Jeez, come on, Riv, come on. She's ugly.
No, she's not.
Would
Why
you?
Would I?
Would you slip it? Would you slip
If
your
I
dick?
if I was not happily married to my wife, yes, 100%, without a doubt, no hesitation.
Jesus, really? You
Yeah.
fucking pedophile.
Why? How would I be? She's like 30 or something, dude. Late
No,
20s,
she's
I think.
not. She's 14. You fucking
No,
pedophile.
she's not. She's not. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
Yeah.
So
She's
anyway,
14. She's 14.
okay. Well, listen, I've got some other things I'm going to talk about. So I want you to go spend some time with your lady. I want you to have some fun with her, and I will holler at you here in a little bit, and we'll do that episode. Okay? Does that sound like a plan?
Yes.
All right, brother. You take it easy, and I wish you all the luck on your podcast. Okay?
And you.
All right, later, buddy. So, all right. Well, that was something. Jeez. I'm so glad I have a mute button on my mixer that I can hit real quick to mute people. Lord Jesus. I hope I hit it in time. I hope I got all that where it was muted. Lord Jesus, help me. All right. But in all seriousness, yes, I got the link, GG. Thank you, hon. Yeah, I know all about that story about the CEO of LifeLock. Yeah, you guys heard that story, right? We'll take a look at this real quick because the lovely Gigi, my secret weapon, now on the podcast, because she's got like a Rolodex of freaking stories. It's just. I don't know. It's almost supernatural. So the LifeLock, I'm sure you guys have heard of it, but it's this cyber firm that had this notion or idea that if you pay them, and I'm sure they help whatever, right? But if you pay them their monthly or annual subscription, that they would protect your identity, right? So you wouldn't get your identity stolen. People couldn't jack up your credit, things like that, right? And so the CEO was so cocky about this shit, he took out billboards and stuff where it had his social security number on it. Turns out his identity got got stolen like 13 times, right? Because he's an idiot. Because why? I'll tell you why. Hang on here. Listen, hang on a second. Hang on. I got to deal with something. I'm all for fun and stuff there, but I'm not really kind of cool with that. So you're going to get some time there, Mr. Little Pricky. So have fun with that. Yeah, so he wound up getting his stuff stolen. So anyway, Gigi, since you like Gigi, Joy, you might want to look into this LifeLock. Maybe help get your identity from getting stolen. Just saying, right? Just saying. All right. So let's get into some more stories because I got some more stuff to say. Okay, hang on here. What's Joy sending me? All right. So I think I can turn this off. We don't need this widget up here anymore. You don't need to see. Oh, hang on here. Oh, Lord, sneezing this morning. All right. So where to start with this story? So yesterday, Mitch Shockmouth, Mickey Mitch, rather, put out this thing says, I've been gaslit into thinking I'm gay and that he enjoys the penis. But Chris says, but you are and do. And then he says, I'm being gaslit and groomed into performing fellatio on Niles. And so our resident memester here, D-Max, says, don't worry, be happy and free. And so...
if you were gay, that'd be okay.
Okay.
I mean, 'cause hey, ha, I like you anyway, because you see, if it were me, I would feel free to say that I was gay.
So there's, I don't know. It almost sounds like to me that Max here is trying to bully. I think he's trying to bully Mitch.
Suck your own butthole. You're doing great.
Trippy Savage. I'd be interested in listening to a conversation between Banana Grabber and Slug. Call it the Banana Slug tapes. Possibly. Why is that not showing up on that screen? That's weird. I don't know. That's weird. Let me get rid of that Discord widget. But anyway, thank you for the $5 there, Trippy Savage. I'm sorry. So it sounds like to me maybe D-Max is trying to out. I thought that was, we weren't supposed to do this. And so Jessica Pizzle comes in here and said, I felt overwhelmingly compulsion to do this. So let's listen to what she had to say.
Let's not forget the most important thing. Everyone's a little bit racist sometimes. Doesn't mean we go around committing hate crimes.
Okay, okay. Max says, I figured you'd either want to sing that one or the internet is really, really great. And then where was it? Hang on here. There was another one. Oh, shoot. What happened? I lost my thing. Let's see. Was it here? Yeah. And so Jessica says, bro, don't get me started. And then Max says, you know, Jessica, every time you and I interact, a peepaw gets a chuckle, and it's almost as precious as an angel getting its wings, if it were an angel of death, that is. And then Jessica says the most horrendous thing. She says, Peepaw is the evil overlord of commentary. Satan himself employs deceit to lead men and women astray. John 8:44, he is the devil. He's the devil is disguised. Well, there's that. And of course I come in here and I'm like, what? And then she says, devil man leading us into darkness. And I said, only if you will let me, pretty lady. And so D-Max, thinking he's funny, says, preach, speaking the truth to power is why I got into commentary. And he quote tweets Jessica's little thing about being this, me being this evil overlord or whatever, right? And so I said, fine, I'll finally ascend to my true form. Okay, only Vader, this is you right now. Or okay, Vader, this is you right now. And then I came in here and said, I am your father. So there you go. That's why I said all that, whatever, to go back to the original picture that we had this morning, right? When we opened all this stuff up this morning. Where is it at here? Let me come back up in here and find it. Boom. That is why I had to have my coffee before I conquer the universe. So now we're going to conquer the universe. Anakin has audio. Fine. You want to hear the audio? We will hear the audio, Max. Be it far from me to deny people one of your silly little memes.
You turned her against me. You turned her against me.
I turned her against you. Who did I turn? Who? What? What? I don't. Again, Max with his little memes, and he thinks he's funny. He's not funny. He's not funny. He's not funny at all. All right. So, what else do I want to talk about today? What else do I want to talk about today? What is this? We got a Mike the Bike. Mike the Bike is going to do a live stream here in about, it says 6 hours. It says iDubbbz, the end of the content cop. So Mike the Bike is going to do, might be something to check out. We'll have to check that out. What else do we have here? And we got a Leah. Leah something is going to be doing a stream here in about 5 hours saying, my big blood sports, oof, Keffels versus Leafy and Jalen now recording interview. So let's talk about this for a second. The big oof. All right. So Leah something has really been on a tear here lately, has she not? Good gravy. So she gets into it with Jessica Pizzo over on Now Recording live stream the other evening. And that was just, I thought it was funny. I thought it was very funny, very comedic. A lot of laughs and yucks and so forth. And then she followed that up by going over on Chris the Narc. And on Chris the Narc's Spurgcast that he's now taken and going with, because Doc on the radio has went on with to other things in real life, and so he can't do, he's going on to bigger things in life. So he's not doing YouTube thing anymore. So he bequeathed Spurg Alert over to Chris the Narc, and so Chris is doing that now. And he's got Tomato Man that helps him do it. And so they had Saggy Melons and Leah something on there. And anyway, Leah something stepped in it big time. And she brought up Ruin Leon and a situation involving him. And she talked about something that she really didn't know a whole lot about. And Leon wasn't having any part of it, as he should not have. And so I don't really feel comfortable talking about it any more than that. But evidently Leah is going to talk about it on her stream today. And if you want to get the backstory on all that or what have you, just a second here, and I will bring it up here, and I'll show you which video it was here. Let me find it here. Let's see here. Yeah, this one here. I'm pretty sure this is the one here. So it's this one right here. It's the iDubbbz, the new man/EDP 457. Is that it? Yeah, it's this what Spurg Patrol right here. They come in there and they have their whatever. But like I said, I really don't want to get too much into that. I have too much respect for Leon. I like Leon. I think he's a good dude, and it's quite honestly none of my business. And so there's that. But she's going to be talking about that. Let's see what else. There was something else. There was something else I was wanting to talk about this morning. Where was it at? Let me find my stuff here, guys. Bear with me a second. If you say his name 3 times, he'll show up. Well, here's the thing. He's always welcome to call in, and I like Leon. I know like I said, I like Leon. Leon's kind of a character. He's kind of a I don't know. I like his content. I like him, and I enjoy his content. That's all I can say. Where was it at? Hang on here. Let me find it. So the other day, oh yes, here we go. So, yesterday I did the little thing on D-Max, kind of the quote expose stream on D-Max. Just had some fun. We were non-drama related stream, just had some fun, ease into the weekend or whatever, right? And so, Max put his little thing out here saying, trying to expose me, link to the live stream, whatever. And Mama D-Max comes in and says, not used to other people making fun of D-Max. Okay. And then she has the little happy clappy emojis, Yeah. And of course I say, well, Max and I go back a long ways, and I do consider him one of my dearest friends. And I really do like D-Max. I was just having a little fun with him or whatever, And so D-Max quote tweets this and says, she's calling you out, Riverter. You've gone too far. Definitely the worst overstep from a commentary person this week. And that's saying something, because there was some wild stuff going on this week. I apologize publicly for exposing my home videos for your selfish content gains. And then Mama Max comes in like the true queen that she is. Says, no. All good here. Have at it. Let the games begin. While she sits there with her beautiful little gazelle eating her popcorn, right? And I think that's just chef's kiss, right? And Max goes, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom. And so I said, your mother is the absolute best, Max. Treasure her for the queen she is. 100%. 100. Mama Max. Yeah. Max's little mom. So anyway, good stuff there, right? So even though he tries to paint me as this evil person, even his mama, his dear, sweet, saintly mother, knows that I'm a good, wholesome person. And all I do is try to have some yucks. All right. So how long have we been going here? We've been going about an hour. All right. I'm really kind of torn on what to do next. I'm really kind of torn on what to do next. Because there's another story that I'm kind of somewhat... There's another story that's out there. that I'm kind of vested in a little bit. But I don't know if I want to get involved in it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just let that story cook a little bit longer. I think it needs to cook a little bit more. And I think that's what needs to happen. I think it needs to cook a little bit more. It needs to marinate a little bit more, and then kind of see what happens there. And so I think on that note, I think I'm probably going to wrap things up a little bit, because I do have to get with Joey.
Hey, people.
Oh my God. What?
Hey.
What is it? Is that, hang on,
I mean,
is that a D-Max?
hi, yes. Hello. So,
Yes,
what is
ma'am.
this story in pertaining to? I
All right,
mean, because I don't know. I mean, maybe we want to get into trouble.
All right, so hang on. I'm gonna mute Max and me for just a second. We're gonna talk about this, and then I'll be right back, guys. So just chill for a second. Live.
Yep.
All right. So, guys, after consulting with my PR manager, Max,
Are you kidding me? I was ready to fucking go all in. I mean, but you're the one just like over here being Mr. Rational, like being like, I actually understand what we're talking about. No, I thought it was something. Yeah, no, it's not even a big deal. You know, really.
It really is
Yeah.
not. It's just, but I just think I'm gonna let that one soak a little bit, and we'll see.
You need some waiting room music whenever you do that, because I like that actually. If I'm being honest with you, you actually got the Joey stuff like perfectly.
Okay.
We weren't. Yeah, it was actually pretty well timed and everything too. So kudos to you. But like one thing I would say is just it would be really funny if you just had a little like what if you had like the I Hate Everything music, you know, like the elevator music. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just saying that'd be funny. Anyway,
that would actually imply that I knew what I was doing, and I don't.
I mean, I can help you with that.
Yeah,
it might be possible.
Yeah.
Don't you have a Stream Deck, right?
I do have a Stream Deck. Yeah, I could have that music queued up in there where I could push a thing and it play the music. Yeah. So
yeah. Anyway, I always overcomplicate things.
So, since you did call in, we can talk here just a minute. So
sure.
Your mom is hilarious, dude.
I love my mom. She's actually on her way over. I guess she's going to go to the beach with my cousin. So that's fun.
Oh, well, you make sure and convey that, you know, that I think she's just precious. And, I love the fact that she can come in and just, you know, and she's okay with her baby boy being bullied. I think that's great. I think that's.
Oh, she's been doing it my whole life. Yeah. I mean, like it's her bread and butter, really. She's been talking about like when I get famous and successful, she can't wait. She can't wait to make a book exposing me, like just exposing everything. You know, and it's so funny because she can't post a lot of the photos of me because most of them are when I was a kid, and like you know, my father's Brazilian. You know, my mom's from Miami. Like we're Florida people. I would run around constantly naked. So like a lot of the stuff that she has is like me as a child.
So
not. Well, I can't post that to the internet. Like it's funny. They're funny photos, but like I don't want people seeing my young twig and berries, if you know what I mean. Like
yeah. So you know what's funny, right? And this really happened. So every parent, as you're, you know, when you start having kids, whatever, there's always that famous picture that every parent takes of their kids where their child is in the bathtub. And the first time they can actually kind of like they're taking a bath, or even the first time like where they've got enough motor control where they're actually setting up in the bathtub by themselves. There's just those pictures, right? And of course, there's genitalia that are always in these pictures, right?
Of course, yeah.
And you know, moms love to drag those things out when you start bringing the girl. In my case, like you bring the girls around or whatever, because you're dating and you say, "Well, the mom, dad, this is whatever."
Yeah.
And mom's, "Oh, let me show you this when that I was little, and then they pull them out, and inevitably there's always those pictures in there, and you're like, really, Mom? Really?
See, it's like for my mom, it's more of a waiver, really. It's like when the girl comes over, she pulls them out, not to be like, oh, look at how cute he was. It's more of like, are you sure about this? I mean, look at this. Are you really sure?
Yeah.
This is the guy. This is the guy for you, really? Okay.
Yeah. But there was this couple that did that, right? And of their child or whatever, and they posted, I think, like on Facebook or some social media. And here's the thing, though, they edited it, right? They put little, I don't know what you'd call it, like emojis or whatever over the
Stickers,
sensitive areas.
Yeah.
Over the sensitive areas or whatever, right? They got in trouble.
This is the thing I'm talking to my parents constantly about this because they can't wrap their minds around it.
Yeah.
Because there are circumstances that happen like all the time where it's like you're out someplace, you're trying to, talk up someone, and then they end up, maybe being a little bit younger than you expect. They're like, oh no. And that's like, obviously you wouldn't as soon as you hear about that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, but I was telling them about like a story like that I'd had at some point. And they were like, what's the big deal? And I'm like, well, and I had to explain to them that like, because we live in this more, it's weird because it's like a sex positive society, but on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's like, it's very, like everybody's very uptight about it, and it's just like, and reasonably so, like it makes a lot of sense that they would be that way, but it's just, it's just that people don't understand like the room for error because they're from a time where you could make mistakes and it would be like, oh, we thought you were a bad guy, but as it turns out, you're actually fine. You're just not. You just weren't paying attention or you just didn't realize.
It's not even that so much, right? I mean, the pictures themselves are innocent, right? It's just it is a milestone in this family's life, and it's a picture or whatever that is for family scrapbooks.
I just mean that like it's because of the Epstein stuff. Like and it's good. This is a good thing. I think it's good that like things are going in this direction. I think it's better this kind of conservatism that we have for these types of things. I think that's honestly, I do think that's better because children are, a huge asset. Like they're very important things, and innocence is a good thing, so.
Here's the thing, right? So you have these, I don't know what you kind of have this conversion of minds, right? Or mind, I don't know what eras, right? So, I, as a Gen Xer, grew up with my baby boomer parents doing that, showing whatever, and having that in the photo album. That's whatever, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is you go from the Gen Xers, and okay, so now we're no longer Polaroids, and we're no longer 35 millimeters that we're having to take down here to the photo mat to get delivered.
It's just as easy as a phone.
Everything's digital, right? So it's real easy. And they don't understand that there are some really horrific people out there that could take something as innocent as one of these types of pictures are, right? And guess what? Then what they do, they take and they use it for deviancy. And and they don't understand that. They don't, I know
it's hard because it's hard because like it almost kind of gets into my thoughts about, not to have too much of a tangent, but like a little bit of my thoughts of like the AI stuff anytime, because I keep on seeing this on a cycle now where it's like a new AI app comes out and it's like a body swap thing for, a porn star or something like that. And it's like, my thought about that is that like, is it jerky that people do that? Yeah. Can we legislate that? Can we like stop that? It's like, I don't think you can. I don't like the idea of it's just, so my point is that like people are going to be fucking degenerates. There's really nothing you can do about it. It's just a matter of like how wholesome you can be, how protected you can be, and frankly, the more public of a person you are, the less private you can be. That's just, that's the long and short of it. It is your choice if you want to post that stuff online. You don't have to. There's a big difference between I guess maybe that's the line. Maybe that's the way that we do things going forward, is like posting things online. Depends on the context, but probably bad, but person to person, it's just IRL. It's like, oh, it's just cute. It's in context,
So here's a little story. I'm gonna tell a little story about my life. All right. So I graduated high school in '87. We left Arkansas, moved up Went to a trade school or tech school in Louisville, Kentucky. Got through all that stuff, graduated, started working. The company I went to work for moved me to South Bend, Indiana. In South Bend, this was in 1990. In 1990, this was there was no internet back then. We had what was called bulletin boards. People ran these things on their computers. You would dial up with your modem, connect. They had forums where you could post things. Sometimes they'd have little games, digital games, whatever you could play on there and compete against other ones. Some really big ones at the time were like the stock market game and a few other things. But the biggest thing was back then was you would have these computer clubs. And you would have, like, if you were a PC user, they'd have PC clubs that they would meet and get together, and they would discuss things that were coming up in the PC world. As far as, things back then, it was like this was back before there was what called plug and play. So you would have your different peripheral cards, and you would have to actually go in and set jumpers, physical jumpers, right, on the cards to set what was called the IRQs, so that they would be able to communicate to the motherboard and the software that you'd have to install for it, so that you get, like, for simple things like, audio, graphics, things like that, right? They had actual, what they called daughter boards that would plug into one of the expansion ports. That's where you would put your additional RAM so you could have more memory in your PCs. This is going back like 30 years, right? And this was the industry. This was what I did for a living. But I didn't have a PC. What I had was a computer called the Amiga. Now, Amiga was a computer that was the first thing that was made by Commodore. And the first computer Commodore ever made was called a VIC-20. And then from the VIC-20, they went to the Commodore 64, right? And then from Commodore 64, they made the Amiga. And then they made the Amiga 2000. It was Amiga 5. Well, actually, it's Amiga 1000, then the Amiga 500, and then Amiga 2000. Now, I want to talk about the 2000. The Amiga 2000 was a machine that was, let me just pull up a picture over here so everybody can see what an Amiga 2000 looked like. Okay. All right. I'm going to share this to the screen. This was an Amiga 2000. Okay, so it had a detachable keyboard, kind of looked like a PS2 keyboard back then, right? And had the little, like a PS2 style mouse. It was a 2-button mouse, everything, right? And it had, and here's the thing, it had an RGB monitor and stuff that you could use with it. It had colors. And here was the thing, back in the day, in the 90s, the Amiga had better graphics, everything, than what the PCs could do. And there was, so there was always this big war between Amiga or Commodore Amiga users and PC users. There was just this back and forth battle, whatever. Okay. But then, and this was like in the late 80s and stuff, when the Amigas and stuff started coming into the whatever. But in 1990, there was this card it was a combination. You had a card that you would plug into the 2000, the Amiga 2000, and then there was a software, right? And this thing was called a video toaster, was the name of the card. It was made by this company called NewTek. Now, what was really revolutionary about this, right, is that you could connect analog sources like a VCR. Right back then, we had VHS, VCR. You had the composite, whatever. And you could hook it into this thing, and you could actually capture stuff, manipulate the video. You could manipulate pictures. The software that came with this hardware was revolutionary, right? There was actually hang on here, TV series made using new.
It's just really crazy to think about, like that, like all of this is just replaced with Discord. It's like it's just like one little, a little app. It's like, it's free. It's like not even, you don't even got to pay for it. It's just and it does everything that these things did in like HD.
There was a TV series. This was it. I forgot the name. It was called Babylon 5. It may even still be out there. I don't know.
That sounds familiar.
The Babylon 5 series, right, was completely and totally made using this graphics card called the Video Toaster. Okay. Phenomenal. Powerful machine. There was a guy in the user group that I was a part of there, this Amiga user group that I would go and attend these meetings, and we would talk about all the different wild upcoming things that was going on with Amiga. Because Amiga was a graphics machine. This guy, because he had this card, I got to know him and whatever, and I would go over and watch it. And this guy could, and now this sounds wild, but he could do it. And nowadays it's nothing. We have AI that does this because we have the deep fakes and all this, but this was prior to deep fakes. This guy could take a picture of anybody. It didn't matter who it was. Be woman, be it male, it didn't matter. And he could take it and he could remove every stitch of clothing. He could enhance things. He could do whatever he wanted to do. And his thing is he would take celebrity pictures and stuff and make them nude.
Oh, this guy's a millionaire.
And I'm going to tell you something. This was back in the day where in the 90s, I won't say whatever, when the bulletin boards were kind of getting going and the infancy, because it was not called the internet back then, but it was called, what was it called? It was the precursor to the internet. But I can't.
DARPA?
It was a text. It was text based.
Swish.
There was no graphics. Everything was command line.
You mean DOS?
No, it wasn't DOS. It was the internet. It was the internet, right? But there was not a GUI interface. You did not have.
There was like no UI.
Well, yeah. So you did. There was no Internet Explorer. There was no Chrome. There was nothing, right? It was just. It was ASCII, exactly, Slug. You had an ASCII screen that you got to, and you would go and whatever, and so you would have files that you could go out and download, right? And it would be a description of the picture, but you couldn't see the picture. So you'd have to download. And some of these pictures were quite large and whatever, or there was movies, or there was whatever, right? And so guys who had this type of technology and stuff, right? So they later on, they actually made machines that they called, what were they called? Hang on here. Let me come back over here.
I'm just imagining somebody going back in time and getting this technology, like at the very brink of it, and then starting Let's Plays like 10 years earlier than anybody ever did, and like seeing what happens.
So
like I wonder how that would have been received.
So let me blow y'all's mind here for a second. Let me see if I can find this here. What was it called?
Wait, is it?
So you remember the movie Hook that was
made? Yeah, I love that movie.
Okay. I wished I could. I want to see if I can get the opening. Hook movie opening.
I can't remember how Hook opens. I know that it's like, what is it? It's like, it's the typical like, oh, dad is too hard of a working businessman. Yeah. No, that's not it.
No.
Is it?
No. I wanted.
No,
okay.
No, that's not it.
Hang on here. Let me try it this way here. Let me do this here.
I do not. Man, it's so funny because like whenever this movie comes on, I always watch it, but I don't think I've like ever sat down to watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a hook. This movie is a hook, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. So let me see if I can describe this. So in the opening, I don't know what you call it, like trailer or whatever the movie, right? So there's this scene where you're flying through the clouds and you come across this ocean, right? Scene. And underneath the water submerged, there is a compass, right? you see that in the water and it's all reflective, everything. It was so breathtaking. Of course, it may be on Disney Plus. Let's see if I can, because I'm a Disney Plus member.
I mean, I think that movie was probably done by ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, right? So I had to learn a little bit about them in art school.
Did you now?
Oh, yeah. No, we actually had some people that worked at Pixar that taught me. I think the guy who taught me animation, was it animate? Might have been. Yeah, I guess it was animation. I think, yeah, or modeling. The guy who taught me modeling, the guy who taught me 3D modeling, I think worked at Pixar for a second. I think he worked on Big Hero 6 or something. I could be wrong. And then I think the animator guy, I think he worked at like Illuminations or something.
Seriously?
But it was like early.
They don't have Hookup?
How do they not have Hook?
On Disney
What?
Plus?
That's a ripoff.
Yeah.
Wait, is Hook Disney?
Maybe it's not. Let's see.
I don't know if it is. I don't think it is. I think it's is it?
Let me see. Maybe
That'd be really funny if it's Fox. If it's Fox, and that means that it is Disney. In which case, what the hell?
Let's see here.
Isn't that the opener?
This is the trailer for the. I'm trying to scrub through it to see if it actually shows it.
Shout out to Robin Williams.
Yes.
By the way,
because I really would love to be able to show this scene.
Am I off base, or is the guy who played Hook, is that Lucius Malfoy from Harry Potter?
No.
Oh.
No, it's not.
I'm retarded.
Let me tell you who it was. Ready?
Who was it?
Dustin Hoffman.
Really? Oh my God! Was there really Dustin Hoffman?
Yes. Yeah.
I've never like actually thought about that, but I guess it is. Wow.
It is 100% Dustin Hoffman. Yeah.
Holy hell! I don't know why I was confused like that. Somebody told me that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I can see it."
Yeah. But anyway,
Weird.
so that the CGI graphics that was done for Hook back when that movie was put out was done on the video toaster, and it was revolutionary. People lost there were Amiga fans, I kid you not, there were Amiga fans who went to watch that movie just for that opening scene. And if I could find it, I would 100% play it. But I don't know. Let's see.
I think it's on. Ooh, oh, that's dumb. It's on AMC. Stupid.
Let me see. Where can I watch Hook?
I tried to look it on Amazon, but
it says it's on. Okay, so hang on. It says it's on HBO Max. Let me see, because I have HBO Max. So we'll see. HBO Max. Stay with me, chat. I know.
This is a tangent, but I swear to God that this is related to being able to post pictures of children naked. We're definitely 100% related.
It is 100%.
It's related. Yeah. This is definitely not a cringe conversation that I'm going to hear about from Matt Pitt later.
Here it is. Here it is. Okay. So
I can just imagine the DM from Matt Pitt later. He's just going to be like, "Really? You're talking about this?"
So let me scroll through. Was it back over here?
Daddy Malfoy is very nice and a DILF. I can't even disagree with you, Empress. Facts.
I can't remember where that scene is at. It's actually been so long since I've watched this movie.
They're all talking about movies now. Gigi said, shout out to Fern Gully. I absolutely agree. Fern Gully is based.
Fern Gully is okay. Is this it here?
Wow. It's funny because I learned how to do this in school. This is actually what I went for was film compositing.
Yeah.
So I'm very used to looking at movies, especially around this time.
Yeah.
I think we actually did look at Hook and some of the effects and stuff that they've done. And it's just it's funny because, a lot of the stuff that they did was so rudimentary, or at least could be done better with, the technology that we have now. But it's just insane to think about the types of things that they had to do to make the shots and stuff work for them, because this is I mean, like you're describing, it's not like computers really were at the point.
No.
Because let's see, when was Hook actually? When did Hook come out?
Hook came out, I want to think, in like 91, 92, maybe.
So let me check something.
Wow, gosh.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. I never realized this. This is interesting. Okay, so Jurassic Park is like seen as like a milestone for like compositing and like VFX and CGI and stuff like that, because it had like fully rendered like dinosaurs in it. But that was like revolutionary technology. They didn't have that before they did Jurassic Park. They made it for Jurassic Park. Actually, I'm pretty sure RenderMan. I could be wrong about this, but I think this is technically true at least. RenderMan, which is the actual renderer that they use to render 3D elements, was actually created, I believe, or at least, like I said, in rudimentary form for Jurassic Park. And Jurassic Park was put out in 1993. So this film was, like you said, put out in 1991.
Yeah.
So that's 2 years before. So that's before, like, that's 2 years before one of the most revolutionary changes in terms of like CGI and stuff like that changed our understanding of like compositing and stuff. And so for that, like, they're doing all these crazy effects in this film. Yeah. And it's really good. I mean, it's just,
like I said, it was
all
all
it stands
done
up. It holds up.
It was all done on the Amiga, a toaster, Amiga toaster. That's what the CGIs, the graphics, all that stuff was done.
That's crazy.
Because here was the thing, that piece of hardware, which was an add-on, right? It wasn't even part of the original piece of equipment. You had to buy it separately, right?
Right.
So revolutionized. Like I said, they did an entire series, Babylon 5. Like, for example, let me just see if I can find Babylon 5 intro.
I appreciate that this conversation like redirected from like, hey, your mom should put out photos in videos of you when you were a child naked. I'm really happy we moved on from that.
Are you happy? Yeah, because I mean, how much naked D-Max does anyone really want to see? I mean,
that's true. That's why I ripped that Nick Cash video down.
Exactly. So this is the opening. This is the opening for Babylon 5, and again, this was all done. This was in like 91, I think, or whatever. Of course, this is not real good quality. It's 720p.
Yeah.
And you got to also remember this was at a 4:3 ratio back in the day. This is not widescreen. So
this is 1993 is when the first season came out, I guess, is what it says on IMDb.
Yeah, which is probably about right. And there was something I'm trying to remember. This is going way back in the databanks here. They wound up having to cancel. If I remember the story right, the show was actually canceled due to the huge cost to produce it, because everything was CGI'd. It was, and this was in the early days of that stuff. And it was so labor intensive, right? It was because there was 3D modeling and and they had to do not ray tracing, but they had to render the 3D renderings, and it just was.
Well, yeah, the problem is, I mean, they didn't have the technologies to really view it before it was rendered, and rendering would take a long time.
Exactly.
So it'd be one of those things of, it's a lot of guesswork. It's a lot of like hard math at that point, because it was just like, you're dealing with vectors, you're dealing with like, formulas to be able to get certain equations so that you can, because it looks easy, right? Like that, like it's like a cylinder, if you have Blender now, the new 3D software that they use, if you have Blender, you literally just like press a button and a cylinder will appear. That's half of the spaceship that's on screen right now.
Yeah.
But back then it wasn't so simple. It was that they had to go, okay, this is the equation for one circle. Okay, now this is the equation for one circle plus a z value so that I can actually make it into a cylinder. Okay, now I need to extrude this more, so here's another equation. And then every single time you do that, because it's software, it's going to break itself, which means that you have to fix it, and then you have to apply textures. And how the hell does UV mapping at this point in CGI? I have no fucking idea, because it's hard even now to do that. So it's like, Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we've come such a long way.
Yes, and if you go back and look at other TV space programs, right? So you have Star Trek, of course, where everybody talks about the original Star Trek, right? Then you have Buck Rogers, right? From the
Buck Rogers,
which was another one. Then you had Battlestar Galactica, right? And so all those were shot in the traditional format. Which, what does that mean? Okay, that means you had sets that the actors went in and everything was built. There was no CGI. When you saw the USS Enterprise going through space, that was an actual model that was being filmed going on a trajectory. That's what it was. I mean, there was everything you've seen was model. This was not modeled. And in an infancy of this time frame, they were trying to get away from the cost, because those models, a lot of times those models would, like go back and look at Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, those types of movies. Those were they were what do they call it? Motion capture, right?
Yeah.
So like when you had these, like for example, in Empire Strikes Back, when you had the AT-STs coming across Hoth to attack the rebel base, they would move one and then take a picture, and then move a little bit more, take a picture. And so that was very time consuming. It was very, just labor intensive. And
sorry, just because we're talking about this, I'm curious, because I don't know your thoughts on this, because I know you're a Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like the George Lucas redo? Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, you're talking about he went in and redigitized and
added
the additional
and like
scenes
added the
and stuff.
effects and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal. I wasn't so much. I didn't necessarily have a problem with like going and adding some of the scenes, like for example, the one of the more famous ones was the interaction between Han Solo and Jabba the Hutt, right?
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's a big.
I mean, that changes the whole scene.
Sure, because that scene was completely and totally cut because, originally George thought, Jabba was going to be a throwaway character, was not going to be anything used past the first movie, and then of course it became a very prolific throughout the entire series. I didn't ever even necessarily have a problem with them redigitizing some of the stuff to clean up some of the blocking stuff that you'll see, especially like in the space battles. Like I've got all three of the original movies on Laserdisc, and I have a big Laserdisc player. Cool. So I can go in and watch them, and I have them actually on VHS as well.
So you have the original cuts?
Yes, I have original cuts.
Wow, that's cool. Is there a way to upscale that?
What do you mean?
Like, is there a way to like digitize that?
I'm sure there probably is. Yeah. You just have to have something because you'd have to be able to capture. Like
I've never seen a laser disc, so I don't know how it. What's the output?
You've never seen a laser disc?
No.
You know what they are though.
I know what they are. Yeah, I know what it is. I've never seen one like in real life. Like I don't know what the output is.
So it's composite. It's composite.
Oh, okay.
RCA. So yeah, you can 100% capture it down if you wanted to and whatever.
Does it do S video or anything like that?
Yes, it does have S video too.
Ooh.
Yes.
Because have I ever told you I have a FrameMeister? Do you know what that is?
I'm going to assume it's some sort of capture device.
It's not a capture card. It's a retro upscaler, but it's like the way that it does it is very specific. It does it like it's a whole thing. It's a really good upscaler. I paid a lot of money for it, and I would love to. That'd be cool. Anyway, this is nerd shit. I just think it's interesting. I love capturing that kind of shit.
But let me say this, and like I said, I have the original cuts on VHS as well. I also have all the new cuts on VHS too. And I think when they went over to like the Phantom Menace and all that, I think I went to DVDs. I don't have any of the episodes 7, 8, and 9 though. I don't own any of those. Probably never will. So here's the thing. The only grievous part of that whole redoing, this was a big one for me, and almost like a want to punch George Lucas in the face type thing, was they went back and they changed it to where Guido shot before Han did.
Han shot first. It's a big part
Exactly.
of his character. He's that kind of guy.
Yes.
Because it's an arc. Like that's the thing.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the annoying part. Is that without that, it's not an arc. Like it's really shitty. But like as much as I love Star Wars and I love the original trilogy, like that, like it's the writing. The sell of Star Wars, in my opinion, has never been the dialogue. It's always been like the
characters.
Yeah, it's the characters, it's the concepts, it's the world. It's all of that. It's all the style, right?
Sure.
And so it's like one little thing like that, where it's like it's such a small action, but it means so much to a character that it makes you identify them like very deliberately. Like, oh, this is a scumbag. Like this is a bad guy. He shoots first and asks questions later. Like that's the kind of guy he is. He's a scuzzy. What is he? He's a scuzzy nerf herder or whatever.
Yeah. Yes. He's a scruffy nerf herder. He is a criminal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a criminal.
He is. He's a smuggler. I mean, that's who he is. So like, changing that is a huge. So I agree. Like that is unfortunate. What kills me about this, like, is just that like, if they're gonna do that, I don't know why it is that George would like be like, oh no, we're not gonna release. We're never gonna release the original because people don't need to see it. I'm gonna keep that behind a vault, and nobody's ever gonna see it again, and we're never gonna upscale it to full Blu-ray or anything like that. It's just not. It's not gonna happen. It's just like because I don't get it. Like why? Just do it. Just put both videos out or sell both like independently. Because for me, like as somebody who wants to learn his trade better, I would love to see that and like see the technical problems, see the issues with whatever the flaws in it were, But I can't. I've never been able to see the original cut of Star Wars.
Well,
so much so to the point to where my mom and I had a bet about this because she was like adamant that that we had the original cut of Star Wars on DVD, and I said, "Mom, they never made it. They never put that on DVD." And she was like, "What are you talking about? Like, it totally is that one." And so then we pulled it up and we started watching, and lo and behold, I ended up making like $50 out of that. I think.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Max, because you and I, we whenever we get together, I will make sure that you get to see the original cuts of all three of the movies. The first three movies, because I have them all.
Cool. Yeah.
I have them all. There was some slight changes in Empire and in Return of the Jedi, but the biggest ones I always felt like was actually in Star Wars, the first one, A New Hope.
Yeah.
But like I said, I have them all. I have them all.
A New Hope is the one I want to see the most anyway.
Okay, no problem. I will make sure. I will make that happen, my man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, anyway. What else is new?
So
what else you got going on today?
Voltage Mike says, Peepaw, thoughts on Rogue One and Solo?
Ooh. Oh, no. Well, okay, yes. Yeah, let's talk about that, sure.
All right, sure. So Rogue One, I thought was very good. I thought it was a excellent, very gritty movie that I think portrayed that period of time. Right, okay, so Rogue One takes place right before A New Hope. That's the thing there, right? The time period. I thought it was very well done. I liked Rogue One. Now, Solo. I've watched Solo one time. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say about Rogue One. To me, it's like I liked Rogue One, but I liked it in so much as like. I feel as though a lot of the modern Star Wars stuff is like removed from the original like Star Wars canon for me in my own brain.
Yeah.
And so like I like it as far as that. And I would say that like I look at Rogue One the same way as I do like the Dark Knight trilogy, where it's like Batman is an established franchise that I really like anyway. And then they made a really good movie out of it. And that's how I look at like Rogue One is that it's an established franchise, but they actually made something that I wanted to like, I didn't think I wanted to watch that until I watched it. And then I was like, holy shit, this is really good.
It was. I thought it was very well. I thought it was very well written. I thought the actors and actresses did a wonderful job. I thought it was very good. As far as Solo, it was okay. The problem that I kind of have with that movie is this. There are books that have been written prior to all these movies, prior to episode 7, 8, 9. There was a whole rich depth of character development and characters that took place that was signed off and approved by George Lucas himself. And there is a whole series of books that goes into Han Solo, goes into his and Chewbacca's friendship and how that became a thing. And while the movie does a okay adaptation of those books, I'm sorry, movies, I have this philosophy, or I have this rule. One, if I read the books, I never watch the movies. If I watch the movies, then I never read the books. It's just that simple.
Are you worried about being like disappointed?
Always, because
that's fair.
And the reason why is this, okay?
Yeah.
The books always have more information, more character development, everything, because in a book, the author of the book is not pressed for time as far as trying to hurry up and get everything compressed into a 2-hour, here you go, sit down, eat your popcorn, get it and go, right? Type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So a author can take their time and they can meander, whatever. There has been one movie series that I've seen that is probably and to really truly get the closest adaptation, you have to actually get the extended cuts, and that is the Lord of the Rings trilogies.
Oh yeah, and that's because oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the director's name. What's his name?
Why did
totally
you ask
blanking.
that? Why did you ask
I don't
that?
know. I know that you had it before I asked that. I'm sorry.
But it's but anyway,
he was a huge fan. Like
Yes.
so it mattered to him a lot. It
Yes.
mattered immensely that he got it right, and he did. And
but
it's
even
great,
in
yeah.
even in
It's
them,
heralded. Yeah.
even in them, okay, there is parts of the book that were left out.
Yes.
Now, in the grand scheme of thing, did it matter? Kind of, sort of, a little bit. But then they took characters and introduced them that really had no place in the books either, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were not in the books, but they just were there for, I don't know, the Brown Wizard, for example, right? Really Madigan, whatever, I can't remember what his name was.
God damn it. I'm not good at Lord of the Rings stuff, but I like it. Yeah.
But
I know what you're talking about.
he wasn't really he was not a character that was developed in the books even. But the director felt like, this will be some good comic relief to kind of inject here to help carry
Peter
the story.
Jackson.
Yeah,
I couldn't
Peter
remember
Jackson.
his name.
Yeah, Peter Jackson, exactly. The movies are wonderful. The movies are great. I have the
Radagast. Seth gets it.
Radagast, yes.
Yeah, Radagast is good.
I actually have the extended cuts on Blu-ray, and they're like 4 hours long or some nonsense, right? So
they're wonderful.
Yeah, you have to stop. You have to go have bathroom breaks and all this. But you can do that, right? And they're wonderful. If you have never seen the extended cuts of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, do it, because
it is worth it.
It is really as well worth it. So, but back to your question, the original question was, Rogue One, I would probably watch again. Solo, probably not. It's probably a one and done for me.
So, Peepaw, you want to get into a potential debate here? Because I don't know your thoughts on this, and I don't know if you know my thoughts on this.
Go ahead. Throw it out there.
Okay, so here's my supposition.
Yeah.
I believe that the hate that the prequels get is completely unwarranted, and I believe that the prequels are as good as the original. If not, I will concede maybe a little bit worse. Maybe, and that's only just because maybe some certain casting choices weren't as good as they could have been.
Okay.
That's the only concession.
All right. So when episodes 1, 2, and 3 were released back in the day, I found them annoying. I didn't have a problem with
Misa Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, I didn't have any problems with the selection of actors and actresses. I thought that was fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I really had no problem there. I thought the storyline was good. I thought it was fine, but I thought it also was a kinder, gentler version, and it wasn't as raw and gritty as the episodes 4, 5, and 6, right, which were the original 3 movies.
Yeah.
But I was like, it was like, okay, whatever. I mean, I didn't hate them, but I didn't love them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then episode 7, 8, 9 came out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So here's how it is. I really love the original 4, 5, and 6, the unedited ones that George Lucas did. I really love them.
Mm-hmm.
I like episodes 1, 2, and 3. Can't stand 7, 8, and 9. So because 7, 8, and 9 was made, it moved my opinions of 1, 2, and 3.
It stunk so bad that you went back retroactively and went, hey, you know what? The prequels, not so bad. I'll listen to Jar Jar Binks. Sure, why not? He became a senator.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but why not? You know?
It changed my whole...
It's better than the Rose Tico fucking kiss scene, which makes no sense. It's just, it's stupid and it's dumb. And I don't know who okayed that or thought it was good. But because I think there's a lot about the prequels that is iconic and has become iconic for like the Star Wars franchise. I mean, I will say too that it's a little bit unfair to say that just because so much of the franchise has been built around that because of the marketing being how it is, you know, Clone Wars and everything like that taking place during that kind of era of like the prequels. So it just inflates like the aesthetic like generally. But like I love it. It's like, it's hard because I know that I grew up on it. I don't want to be biased, but I think that, the Duel of Fates is one of the coolest battles, like one of the coolest sequences in the entire franchise. It's like the fight with Darth Maul is just like insane.
It is.
It's just,
it is very good.
And by the way, it's the reason, like that whole thing and the reverence that I have for that and like how much of an impact that had on me, honestly, as a person, like seriously, like that scene fucking impacted me as like an artist, like huge inspiration from that scene. Because of that, that's actually the reason why I never went to go see Solo, because I heard that, spoilers, I don't know. But I heard that there's like a little bit of a callback to that, you know, in a way. And I just vehemently disagree with that. I know that there's some things in the extended lore that make it so that it's like that is a thing. It's like if you're not gonna do that right, in my opinion, like it's just don't do it at all. Don't try to give me member berries like that. Don't tease me. You know, that's not fair. I don't like it. It's not nice.
So here's probably maybe a hot take. Okay. So when it was announced that they were making episodes 7, 8, 9, I was stoked. Because I consider myself a true fan of Star Wars, right? I've read all the books. I've seen the movies multiple times. I've got a whole
background.
I have a whole, I don't have the entire collection of works that books written after Return of the Jedi up into episodes 7. But I have a vast majority of that library, and there is a depth of library out there because you have just your regular like books that were written, and then you have a whole young adult book series that was written.
Yeah.
I have like I said, I don't have all of them, but I have a vast majority, and I read every one of them. I every time a book would come out, I would get it and was just would consume it. And there was such good stories and character development. All right. So I was excited for this universe that I love to be continued on. And so it started out, and yeah, they played the member berries, and they really sucked us old heads into it in the first one, episode 7, and they really kind of jerked at us and stuff. Okay, I could even get past the fact that they were developing these new characters. We have Poe, and we have Ren, and all this, and even what's her name, the girl that winds up her sister dying and all that. She has that whole thing. I can't remember.
Rose Tico.
Rose.
Yeah.
And so developing these characters. Okay, I'm fine. I'm okay with developing and introducing new characters. 100%. I'm okay with that because I understand that Harrison Ford, that Carrie Fisher.
Well,
and all these guys are getting old. They can't continuously.
It's
So
like
I
they're making
understood
another
this.
Indiana Jones, and that's ridiculous to me.
Yes.
It's like, that's absurd. Stop.
So, of course, we lost Carrie Fisher. I sadly, the truth of the matter is, we're probably not going to have Harrison Ford too much longer. He's getting long in the tooth.
You know what? You brought that up. You mentioned that, and now I'm remembering. I honestly cried. Like I didn't leave the movie during the thing, but I cried. And I actually got mad at Disney in the studio just in general for the way that they treated Carrie Fisher. I thought that whole thing of like bringing her back as like a CG, like whatever that like weird, like that was.
It was.
I mean, it makes me want to barf. It makes me want to throw up. It's so disgusting. I don't care what kind of contracts, what kind of deals you have. I don't care. That's evil. Like, don't do that.
But then the thing of it is like they spent some time developing these different characters like Rose and
well,
those guys.
I don't hate the characters. My thing is that like my problem is not the like my issue. Okay, let's take Luke as an example.
Yep.
I like the character of Luke Skywalker from the original series, from the original trilogy, right?
Yes.
This new Luke Skywalker that happens in the sequel.
I'm gonna stop you for just a sec because Gigi's in the waiting to call, and I know she's kind of a nerd, like the rest of us. So I'm gonna bring her into the conversation as well here.
Hey,
so,
Gigi.
Hey, Gigi.
Oh, I hear myself. Hey, Gigi.
Hi.
Hey.
I just wanted to jump in here because I feel like we're glossing over two very important things. First of all, Star Trek is better in every way. Let's put that right up front. Although I will say Star Wars, the extended universe stuff was pretty cool, but I won't get into that. And secondly, you guys completely glossed over the fact that the order in which you watch these movies makes a huge difference.
That's true.
In your evaluation of them. Because 1, 2, and 3 were the first ones that I watched. People can't hear me. See, Joey complained I was too loud, and now I'm too soft. So you guys can't hear me. Blame Joey.
Let me see. I'll boost your audio here just a little bit. So,
all right.
There you go.
I watched 1, 2, and 3 first, and I was like, "Oh, all right, Star Wars is pretty cool. I can get into this." And then I have still not made it through 4, 5, and 6 all the way through. I've fallen asleep every time, and I've seen this. I tried to watch the original version because I have friends who have digitized them. There's a version out there that was translated into Chinese and then back into English, which is amazing. Just so amazing.
Because it's like so butchered, I'm sure.
It's so butchered. You know the scene where he goes, "I am your father," and goes, "No!" That gets translated to "do not want."
Yeah.
Do not want. No. Oh, instead of no, it's do not want. Nice.
Yes. It's great. It's wonderful.
To your point, I think that is probably true. It is, I mean, at the end of the day, it's art, right? So, I mean, any entertainment is going to be up to like a bias for whatever it is that you're predisposed for liking. But I think that like there is honestly, I think that in media and entertainment, the way I like to look at it is like, yeah, there is the subjective, but then I think there is like kind of the objective too. And I think that like it's maybe conveyed by like a plurality between people. So what I mean by that is like, I hear the experience more often that Riverter is describing, where he's saying that like people enjoyed the or people who were fans of the original trilogy watched the prequels and went, ew, gross. And then, 10 years later, or whatever it was, when the sequels came out, they were like, oh, you know what? Actually, in hindsight, the prequels weren't so bad because like they actually had that George Lucas feeling that made it so that it was like Star Wars, right? So like I think it's because it's like because I've heard people like say what you're saying and then say, oh, so that like, but then the sequels are good, right? Because there are certain kids like that just grew up now on like the sequel trilogy, and it's like, I mean, is it good?
Star Wars, it's probably too soon to tell because
Sure.
I think each of those three was made for the time that they were released in. So naturally, I like the first three because those were contemporary to when I was a kid. I imagine younger kids will like the last three for that reason. I will say that as someone who doesn't really care for, listen, I'll say this right up front. The reason I don't like Star Wars is because it's supposed to take place in the past. In the past, does anybody feel like we've defeated the dark side? Because I certainly don't. So what exactly are we looking forward to?
But that's the whole chronology of the series. That's the whole thing of it, is that like it's always about an ongoing battle between good and evil. The way I see Star Wars being interesting and in the things that I like is like when I like to like kind of put my own philosophy on it, right? Because in my opinion, like the whole thing with the trilogy and what they should have done for the sequels is it should have been a stopping of the pendulum going back and forth. Because in the prequel trilogy, the pendulum was swung very far to the evil side of things, right? And then the idea was supposed to be that over the course of the original trilogy, it was swung back in the good position, so that it was back or rather, I'm sorry, I got this wrong. In the sequel trilogy, it was that it was way too far in the good side of things, right? And then the pendulum swung hard back over the course of the prequel trilogy to be on the bad side of things with the Sith, right? So it went from the Jedi to the Sith, and then the next trilogy, which is the original trilogy, came out, and that was kind of like trying to right that balance, right? And then the sequel trilogy, in my opinion, should have been about like them, like what is the pendulum going to do now? Like what are we going to do? And it should have been Gray Jedi. It shouldn't, like that should have been, if they wanted to do the Rian Johnson bullshit of making it so that Luke Skywalker was like this pessimistic asshole. Like what they should have done is they should have made it so that he had to embrace some of the Sith power, or that she had to learn how to embrace some of the Sith powers as well as the Jedi power in order to take on the evil. Like make it so that it's like more interesting like that, because that's what I see in Star Wars has always been the problem. Is the Jedi are too pompous. They basically become like an alternate Sith.
I mean, I would argue that's kind of, I mean, I don't want to get political, but is that not what we're seeing happening with the left right now, where no reasonable person wants to join either side because both sides feel like, well, I don't know. I'm good with trans people existing, but insert other thing that is extreme that the left would like that the right doesn't like, or whatever. Like this is more realistic of real life. I would like to imagine a time where we can appeal to reasonability. And Star Wars makes me feel like we've been in this battle for literally thousands of years, and here we are.
Yes, but that's the point. See, that exactly is why I think it's so funny when people point out that the prequels are political, that they have too much politics in them. It's because like that's what George Lucas was trying to do. Like that's what he was trying to explain, is that this battle between good and evil goes on for eternity and will never stop. Like and maybe there is some poetic justice to the idea that we didn't get to a point of the Gray Jedi because it just like it can't really happen. Like that, it's not how things work, That's the art that I see in it.
So here's an excellent time to bring up why Star Trek is better. So Star Trek.
Okay. I don't know as much about Star Trek, but yeah.
See that's your first problem.
It is. No, admittedly so. I want to.
I will say that because if there are Star Wars fans, I'm not saying there aren't problems with the Federation. There are, but I think that ultimately the goal is for everyone to be part of the Union, which seems to me like more like a reasonable future. Like, the Klingons joined the Federation only after fighting with humans for a long time and eventually coming to an agreement, despite the fact that the Klingons by nature are a warring species. They still do that. They still seek that. And we as our allies respect that, but don't have to fight with them. The Jedi are saying we're for these things, and then are still doing a lot of similar things to fight it. To your point, they're exactly the same. Like, it's just not really hopeful.
Because doesn't the
And
Federation work off of like the principle of non-aggression? Like, it's a very like kind of libertarian sort of organization, as far as I understand it, or as far as I've heard. I haven't really. I don't know. Like, I haven't watched it much.
So
it depends what series you're watching, but if I take the Federation as a whole, I would say the Federation is still a government or organization with its problems and different people.
Right. Of
running
course.
it.
I mean, that's how it's written. Yeah, it's supposed to be. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a boring show. Yeah.
And they do claim to be a primarily scientific and exploration organization. However, a lot of Star Trek does show you that is in fact not the case, and that is the problem with the Federation, is that as much as they say it's about science and exploration, ultimately every species is going to do what they have to do, and so they invest a lot in military weapons, just like we do now. And why? Let's talk about why the Enterprise is such a military powerhouse. Like, why can a science vessel take on a bird of prey? Why is that? Why would they need to? They're a science vessel. But Star Trek has a lot of weapons for science and exploration. Like, we do have to be realistic about that. However, the goal is to be non-aggressive, but they're also bringing in the fact that different species wants different things, which is also something we do not talk about in Star Trek.
Let's walk softly and carry a big stick. Yeah.
We don't talk about like how different species might have a fundamentally different way of viewing the world. Like, what is good and evil? Like, to go back to the Klingons, like they fight for honor, they fight for who they are. If they don't die in battle, like, that is a very shameful death that would not only dishonors themselves, it dishonors their entire family. It means their kids
Star Trek. Well, and it's just for the sake too of like what the mediums are, because Star Trek is a TV. This is the funniest thing to me about the debate of Star Trek and Star Wars, is that they're totally different. Like, Star Wars is a cinematic experience. It's like it is. I know that Star Trek has movies as well, but Star Trek is a series that has like time to be able to delve into things. It's like trying to compare. It's like comparing a comic book to like a novel. It's like, obviously
there are podcasts, there are books, there are comics, there's so much Star Wars. Like, I mentioned the Star Wars Extended Universe. The Star Wars Extended Universe is great. It goes into so much detail that they do not get into the movies, especially about Samuel L. Jackson's character. He has an amazing Extended Universe.
His whole style, Vapad, and the way that they explain that is so interesting. It's very cool because it is actually what I was describing before about kind of taking on the Sith kind of like energy, because he has to use hatred in order to use Vapath. It's why it's like such a rare kind of thing. And as a matter of fact, I guess it is something that like the only people who have ever been able to best him in like saber to saber combat were other people who could match that same style to him. So it's like there's a lot of symbology there. There's a lot of like, so like I understand there is stuff in the extended universe of Star Wars as well. And I'm not saying that you cannot compare Star Wars and Star Trek, but what I'm saying is that they're two different series that are trying to do two different things. I think Star Trek is trying to look at like morality on a philosophical level, and I think Star Wars is trying to like look at maybe morality on more of like a cinematic level, like on an emotional level, like neither is necessarily more highbrow than the other, but it's just that like maybe one is a little bit more simple, and I would go that to like Star Wars. It's a little bit more. I don't know how to say this. It's like more.
I would like to know what the vision was. Like, what was the story Lucas was actually, if the whole thing, and I know that 6, 7, 8, and 9 are, what were they? They were supposedly written by him or something.
No. That was a whole fucking thing, man. Do you remember that, Riv?
Yes. So what had happened was Lucas had, I don't think he'd actually like put paper to pen or anything like that, but he had kind of mapped out where he wanted to go with the characters as far as in the universe and so forth. And when he sold it to Disney, he said, hey, This is kind of what I see. This is kind of what my vision, this whatever else. And Disney said, oh, that's cool. We own it now. Go fuck yourself. And that's essentially what happened. Yeah. So I have a question for Gigi, because you are a Trekkie. Okay. So which is your favorite series? Is it the original Star Trek? Is it Star Trek The Next Generation? Is it Voyager? Is it Deep Space Nine? Which one?
That's an interesting question. So I would say, so I'm going to say three things. One is, I feel like the big question is, who's your favorite captain?
Yes.
I'll have to give that to Janeway as my favorite captain.
Okay.
Because I feel like she had the toughest job out of any of the captains. Like if you look at Picard, who's like kind of the quintessential captain. I know some people are going to argue that it's Kirk. It's not. He was too much of a ladies' man. You could see too many emotions. I think Picard was really what we think of when we think of like a man, in terms of being stoic and caring in a more reserved way.
Okay.
But Janeway had to do the job of being both captain and, in a lot of ways, mother to the crew, because they were so far from home. Voyager having taken place in the Delta Quadrant. And I think she does a really good job of still being a commanding leader while still being soft enough to be comforting. And I also think that when she made mistakes, she did ultimately acknowledge that her crew was correct to call her.
Okay. So I have a question for you. Yeah. So let's say, because you said Janeway was your favorite captain, and I agree with that assessment. She was not the picture perfect quintessential stoic captain like Picard was, but she was a captain in her own right, and she was hurled into a situation where, not only did she have to be captain, but she also had to be a leader or a mother, or help these people adjust to the fact that they initially thought they would never ever see their families again. They were going to die in the Delta Quadrant, and without ever being able to have any, communication with loved ones, family members ever again, and they were having to, to deal with all that. All right. So she was stoic in her own right. She was a leader in her own right, everything, right? So let's say they decided to make a movie based upon the crew of Voyager with Captain Janeway. And let's say they took Janeway and they had been in the Delta Quadrant for a period of time. It was just taking forever to get whatever. And all of a sudden, they portray her as this person who has given up all hope, who has become a sniveling coward, who has locked herself away into her chambers and wants nothing to do with the crew anymore.
She did that. That happened. That was the thing that occurred.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if they did that to that character, what did that make so how did that make you feel when that happened?
So to give some context for that, there's a timeline storyline in Voyager where Kes, whose name I couldn't remember before, gets a kind of a vision of the future of something called the Year of Hell. And the Year of Hell is basically, like, you don't see all of it, you see it through bits and pieces at first, and you basically see that, like, everything is shit, like everything is shit, and it's horrible, and the crew is like, and it starts telling you, like, this is going to happen. So when you get to the timeline where that is actually occurring, Janeway is like half the crew dies at the start of this, right? Which means everyone on the ship is overworked and stressed, and and so Janeway is so beyond stress, without sleep, without anything. She does start to lock herself away in the room, and she starts in her quarters and starts just giving orders through her number one, Chakotay. And Chakotay does go to her and say, your crew hasn't seen you. They need to see their captain. People are worried about you. And she, unusually, because she does listen to him most of the series, is kind of like, I'm doing the best I can and fuck off, basically, which is very not Janeway. And I will say that during those episodes, I wondered what was happening, because obviously there's what's happening on screen and there's what's happening behind the scenes, like, were there contract negotiations? Was the actors who play them, like, trying to negotiate, and they were trying to prove to her that they can do this without her? and you never know. In fact, what ended up like the way they resolved this was like, I believe future Janeway comes and they talk and they realize and blah blah blah, and that's how they resolved it. But I will say, it absolutely hurts to see someone who I think is a really good role model for a person, because I do think that Cisco, being my second favorite captain, was good because he was much softer than Picard. He was much more of a human than Picard ever was in TNG. So I will say it was painful, but I will also say that one of the things that Star Trek has that Star Wars does not have is a code of ethics that is explicit. Like, I think Star Wars has this idea of like what you shouldn't be as a Jedi. You shouldn't, let, anger leads to hate, etc., etc., and all that. Whereas in order to be on a Star Trek ship, you have to have gone through Starfleet training. You have to have really decided that this is a thing you're committed to. And most of the people on board are supposed to be scientists. It's much harder for me to believe that someone who's gone through military style training, has been a captain, did that, except under the most extreme conditions. At which point I was kind of like, it hurts to see that even she could turn this way. But it was understandable. Whereas for Disney, there wasn't that kind of explanation.
And that's the problem. If you look at the character of Luke, which is why I brought these questions up. When we're introduced to,
he was also sad about.
When we're introduced to Luke in the first movie, he is this starry-eyed, optimistic, never say never, never quit, never die character. And you have the cynicism of Han Solo. You have the leader, the military leader, the no nonsense person in Leia. Right. But then you have this very dewy-eyed, just overly optimistic person in Luke Skywalker. And there's no challenge. There's no nothing. Even though he doesn't have any formal training, he just says, this is something that has to be done. And I'm going to do what I can with it that's within my power to do this. And I'm going to rescue this person. And he goes on to become this, this leader within the rebellion. And he confronts his father. He ultimately gets his father to turn away and to come back to being a good person. We fast forward a few years, and they have him as a sniveling hermit who has reclused himself away from everything and anything. And it was
and then throws away his father's redeemed lightsaber.
Yes,
his redeemed father's lightsaber. Chucks it over his like it's trash.
Yes,
it's like
it was.
It's like, in what world?
That was not. And here's the thing about it, right? He didn't even really truly redeem himself. People say, "Oh well, he force project himself and he fought his nephew and da da." No, that was.
It's basically like a dream.
Yes, it was horrible, right? So that was not Luke Skywalker, and the thing about it is to me, the way that came across was that this character Luke Skywalker had been held up in a hero leadership type position, and there were people out there that got into power and position to make decisions about these movies that could not stand that was a thing and had to do everything they could to destroy it, period. And here's the thing about it. I mean, there was these people talk about, oh, she did, Kathleen Kennedy did this because she wanted these super strong female leading roles, whatever. Fine. I don't know if she didn't, whatever. I don't care. What I do know is we had a very strong woman who was a excellent role model for young girls from the get-go, which was Leia. She was Leia
was literally enslaved by a giant slug monster and then kicked his ass and killed him in cold blood.
Yes, I mean,
Like,
and
she's about as empowered as you can get in terms of like
yes,
female characters.
you know, and she, you know, she turned away from the Force in the sense of pursuing it because she wanted to be
Yeah, she was like
mother.
magical powers. Nah, I
No.
got it.
I'll be-
I
no,
got
I'm
this
not-
on lockdown. I'm gonna be a general and
Yeah.
a fucking leader, and I'm gonna make things better. I don't need to pursue
Yeah.
this for myself.
And
Yeah.
she was not about personal power. She wanted,
But then they made her do it.
Yeah, it was.
Then
I
they
don't know.
said actually she did the whole time she was a Jedi.
Yeah.
I just want to play devil's advocate a little bit to say this
Okay.
about, and I don't have any emotional attachment to Luke, so obviously that's not pay me. But I feel like I have seen grief and torment in real life, and so a lot of what you're describing, turning into a sniveling person. I will say that having seen stuff like that up close, there's a big difference between how you are right after something happened versus once it's all had time to settle in. And if I can relate, like discovering that my father is Darth Vader to something in my own personal life, I can tell you at the moment I'm probably going to have a lot of adrenaline and drive to do what I need to do. But the second I have time to sit down and think about it, I'm going to start thinking about like, oh, this was why my life was so terrible and I couldn't figure out all of these things and I was alone and all these, and like, I think it could very easily turn you into a sniveling coward and many other things, which is why suicide is so
But here's the thing, but that's not what it was. That's not it at all. I mean, because he changed, he reached out to his father. He connected to his father on a very emotional level and said, "Father, I feel the good in you. Come back from away from the dark. Come away from that darkness. Come." He saved his father. He pulled him from the darkness. We got that. We got that. And then what they wanted to do, they said the reason why, right, was because he, quote, had seen this vision and, quote, tried to kill his nephew. Well, he would not. So explain something to me. He wouldn't strike down his father, who was the ultimate evil in the galaxy and had destroyed millions of people, planets.
Yeah.
I mean, everything. He never gave up hope. He was eternally optimistic. He saved his father. He sees one possible future that his nephew might do. And all of a sudden he's not the optimistic anymore. He's just going to kill him. No, that was so out of character for the character that had been developed, which was Luke. It was just I'm sorry, it was a slap in the face. There's no other way to take it.
Feel the good in him?
Could you say that again?
What if he couldn't feel the good in him? He could feel the good in his father, but he couldn't feel the good in his nephew.
Okay.
But see, that's the issue though, is that like there was obviously good there, because by the end of it, he did, end up being good.
He sacrificed himself to save Rey. So there was good. He was conflicted. He knew that he was conflicted. That was the whole thing, was all through that movie, right? He was conflicted. He was tormented.
Can I make the point too that like, yes, I agree with you. Like, human psyche is very messy, and so people can do all sorts of things, right? But the issue is that we're talking about a story with a narrative and arcs, and the issue is that it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to get the entirety of a flip in Luke Skywalker's character like off screen. Like if they were going to do that, then they should have, given like a slow, deliberate, like a good 10 or 20 minute scene, or like not 10 or 20 minutes, but you can do like, like 5 minutes or something like that, where you just go like, okay, this is him kind of like trying to get, Kylo, or trying to get Ben to, be at terms with this stuff or to get better or whatever. But then he's like slowly, and he's getting frustrated, and maybe he's like, it's causing other issues. It's like, give us reasons for why it is that he became black-pilled. Because the way that it reads right now is that like, oh yeah, Luke Skywalker pretty much got everything he ever wanted, saved the universe, became the hero of everything, became a full-fledged Jedi, which means throwing off and casting off all of your emotions, or at least your negative ones, if you want to believe that Luke Skywalker became kind of a pseudo kind of gray Jedi, didn't have the full console of like, hey, get rid of all of your emotions, you can't even have relationships. And then he goes from that to like Riv said, like having like a dream, like having a vision, which he can trust because he is a Jedi, that that Kylo is going to go down this bad road, and he goes like, yeah, I need to murder my kid. Like, and then also too, like the fact that like the mental turmoil of that entire scene, it just doesn't make any sense, right? He's standing over Ben with a lightsaber ready to go with fucking hate in his eyes, and then he goes, oh no, I think now I'm going to stop. It's like, bro, like what? Were they sleeping in the same room? That doesn't make any sense. There was plenty of time before he decided like now is the time to do this. Like, it's like, why? Like, because it takes like force activation powers in order to like ignite your lightsaber. Like, it's not like a switch. It's like a feeling. It's like an emotion. So it's like, bro, it's like, I don't know.
I'm unconvinced that the tie between Kylo Ren and Rey seemed to be a pretty strong one, right? I feel like she could probably have sensed the good in him, whereas maybe perhaps Luke couldn't for whatever reason until he was right up on him. And I think that's part of what they were trying to do was to say that Luke had lost his touch and he was no longer like.
No, but they didn't. They didn't say that. No, but they didn't say that his future was cloudy because Jedi's have said that before. For instance, with Anakin, they said like Anakin's future is shadowy. It's clouded in shadow. I can't see it. But that's not what Luke said. Luke said that Luke said that he saw the dark side in Kylo, which is a different thing than saying I'm not sure. Literally, Yoda said about Anakin, I don't know. He's like, I don't know. He's like, I'm not sure. This kid's kind of like a weirdo, and I don't know what that means, versus like Luke, who literally saw bad and went like, well, I guess I got to go with that first reaction.
And not only that, but remember this, when in Return.
I appreciate the combo, Gigi.
Yeah. In Empire Strikes Back, right? Luke has traveled to Dagobah to learn from the Jedi Master Yoda. And so he's continuing his path in becoming a Jedi, and he's sitting there and he's upside down, and he's balancing on the one hand or whatever. And he's got all the little rocks and stuff around him, and he starts having a vision, right? And Yoda tells him, he said, yes, when you tap into the Force, future, the past, all these things will become revealed to you. He said, but with the future, you can't trust what you see. It is a possible path, but it is not necessarily the path. And he warns him because he says, I've got to go and I've got to help my friends. He goes, yes, go help your friends. You might, but forever will, you turn your back on your training. And he says, you need to stay here and finish your training. But Luke, because again, he's impulsive. Which he always was. He was very impulsive, but he was always optimistic. And he knew that if he was there, he could save his friends. Because again, he was always about saving his friends, right? And
imagine this: his long lost sister, and now his like basic. I mean, I don't know if you could classify them as best friends, but at least like brothers in blood, for fuck's sake, with Han Solo. No. His sister and his best friend have a kid, right? Mm-hmm. And then he's gonna at any point, like Luke Skywalker is gonna be like, "Yep, time to murder him." It's like, it's wild. Like, that's why people had the reaction they had to Rian Johnson is like, bro, like you did, like, it's like, there's subverting expectations. And then there's basically just being an asshole to the fan base. And that's what it felt like he was doing.
And on top.
For sure did that. I don't think it was, the reasons I'm giving are human reasons for why this could be, not story reasons. Because in the story, they really did expect people to know too many things, in my opinion. But like, even you're saying who wouldn't kill their nephew, and I'm saying, well, wasn't he in love with Leia? And sure, maybe he got over it, but he was like really in love with her. So like, no, I feel like there'd always be a little.
No, there was a brief moment where she kissed him to spite Han. That's
which became awkward, and then they edited it out, so I don't even know if it's canon anymore.
But it's in the original. I have it. It's still there.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Even I think there was, because if you go back and you watch the original uncut, unedited ones that was originally released, Luke, even back then, could sense Leia. He could, because so he knew that there was something there as far as there was a connection, right? And he found out that she was his sister, right? So did he love her? Yes, he deeply loved her because she was his sister, nothing more. Leia loved Han.
I mean, we can get into the psychology of love between siblings. So there's some interesting articles that have come out as a result of the popularity of the incest genre in porn. That would subvert that, but that can be a discussion for another day.
Well, let me just make the point off of that though, that like Shakespeare, like Star Wars is supposed to be more of a Shakespearean kind of play on a lot of that stuff. Like whereas like Star Trek is, I don't believe that is the like what they were trying to do, right? So I'm just saying that like with Star Wars, you do have to kind of take it as more of like an artsy fartsy kind of thing. It's like, what does it mean? Like, what does it mean that there might be some attraction there between like a Luke character and a Leia character from the very first one? It's like that. Yeah. So
I hear what you're saying. I feel the pain. I feel the pain of a lot of that. I would say there are other things which I have felt similarly about. I can tell you, and here's where I'm going to lose fans. The Fast and the Furious franchise is my absolute favorite, and I'm still mad that they made, spoilers, John Cena and Vin Diesel brothers. Like, I'm sorry, what? Excuse me.
Well, spoilers. I haven't seen them yet.
Oh my god!
I've been meaning
They
to.
made some brothers, and this apparently was canon the whole time. All 9 movies. Vin Diesel had a brother who is white somehow. So just because John Cena, you know who could be brothers with Vin Diesel is John Cena. We can't even see him.
Yeah, that's strange.
So the thing too that I think you have to take consideration is Mark Hamill has given several interviews and stuff
he was
where
so sad.
he was not just sad. He was furious about what they did to the franchise. I mean, he ultimately says, hey, I don't own Luke, right? It was just a character that I played. And he goes, I did not agree with the vision that they had ultimately for Luke and what they did with the character. He said, I played it because that's what the director said for me to do. He said, but he says, that was not the Luke. That was not my Luke, right? Yeah. And what makes it even more confusing, right? And sends such a mixed signal to fans such as myself is they deliver a Luke in the Mandalorian series that was original series or episodes 4, 5, and 6 fans. It was their wet dream version of Luke.
Yeah.
And I got emotional when I saw that because I was like, yes, this is the Luke that I knew to be because I'd read all of this canon, all this stuff that was out there about Luke and about the characters. This is the Luke. And the problem is when you have the head of the studio, Kathleen Kennedy, who comes out and makes a statement, he goes, well, this, because it was so poorly received, this whole series was so poorly received. And she makes a statement, she goes, well, this was really hard to write for because there was really nothing out there to base these characters going forward on, which was such a blatant, flippant lie. Because they went in and said, oh, now this stuff out here is no longer canon. Oh, but except, we're going to bring Grand Admiral Thrawn in because we like that character. So we're going to cherry pick this and make this canon. And we're going to do it because we have the animated series over here, Rebel Forces.
It's a case study.
Yeah.
So that's been demographically tested.
Yeah. So we're going to pick and choose what we're going to allow to come in from that was introduced, because understand something, Thrawn was introduced in Timothy Zahn's books, which was following immediately after Return of the Jedi. That series picks up and follows immediately. And if you've never read, there's a 3-part series by Timothy Zahn called Heir to the Empire. If you've not read that series of books, do yourself a favor, go find them, and either get the digital versions, there's their own audio book, whatever you got to do, but get them and read them, listen to them, whatever, because when Timothy Zahn wrote that series of books, he launched that whole continuation of that franchise and that galaxy. He launched it through those books, and he introduced characters that were used completely throughout entirety of that, and that it grew so richly from there. And for them to just flush it like it was some toilet paper stuck to someone's shoe was so just. It was. I was just so distraught. I was like, why? Why? Because we had such rich characters that had been developed.
Why. It's because copyright is really expensive, and so they had to protect themselves. And yeah, it's just corporate bullshit. It's just it's crap.
I was about to say, I feel like given all the facts you guys have given me in your perspective, I do really feel like we're neglecting one big factor in all this, and that is that Mark Hamill is Luke Skywalker to most of us, and therefore when he speaks, we tend to listen and see him as Luke Skywalker.
Sure.
Which is not the case for any other of the like you can't tell me that Carrie Fisher is only ever Princess Leia. I'm sorry. She did other things.
Yeah. And so did but Mark Hamill did too. He had
absolutely.
others.
Like he's the voice of the Joker for me forever.
Oh hell yeah, he's the only one.
Okay,
yeah.
but he had other movies.
I can't help but think of anything other than Luke Skywalker. So if Luke Skywalker said Disney's bad, guess what? Disney's bad. If I'm a Luke Skywalker.
Okay, but here's the thing too, right? So let's look at your Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at Star Trek.
Let's talk about.
Okay.
His wife is younger than his youngest son, and I have real issues with that. I really do. And it bothers me at this part of the reason probably why Picard is no longer my favorite captain. I think that's weird. I think it's icky. Good for him. It seems like they're very happy together, but it did change my perspective to now see him in real life as a 60-something-year-old man who's dating. I think she's 40 now. So, and I think he's in his 70s. There's something. I'm not saying it couldn't work. Maybe their relationship is totally normal. But if I date someone that's even 5 years younger than me, they don't understand my Fairly Odd Parents references, and it just doesn't work.
Well, what I'll say is this, is when you talk to people about Star Trek who are Star Trek fans, right? The first thing you have to establish, okay, which Star Trek are you a fan of? And there usually generally people are a fan of the universe as a whole, but they have, like you said, their favorite captain, right? Or their favorite series. Sometimes it's the Next Generation. Sometimes it's the original Star Trek. Sometimes it's Janeway with Discovery. Or Voyager, I'm sorry. Or sometimes it's Deep Space Nine or whatever, right? So I have some friends who are Trekkies. They are diehard Trekkies. I'm not a diehard Trekkie. I enjoy Star Trek. And matter of fact, I watched, I seen bits and pieces of the Next Generation when it was on the air, but I didn't watch all of it. The same thing with Deep Space Nine. Same thing with Voyager. And so I have Paramount Plus. So I'm going back actually, and I've started with Star Trek. The Next Generation, the very first season, and I'm watching all the episodes. And some of them I remember watching, some of them I don't, whatever, right? But then,
just to say, if nobody has watched Enterprise, which is supposed to be the prequel to the whole thing, it was a CW show, and it is something. It is worth a watch.
Okay, and so I watched the 3 seasons series that is on Paramount Plus exclusive, which was Picard, right? Now, these diehard Trekkies that I have, they watched like the first few episodes of it, but they refused to watch any more of it. They said it was garbage. They hated it. And it was not the Picard. It was not the series that they had, that they loved, which was the original Star Trek Next Generation. They said it was horrible. And I said, why? Why was it horrible? Because I enjoyed it. But I'm not a Trekkie, right? I enjoy the series, but I'm not a Trekkie. And they said they didn't like it because the language that was used in it, the constant cursing that was in it, They did not like what Picard had become as far as the character. They felt like it was a complete and total betrayal of what the original character was. And they just said it was just hot garbage. They wouldn't watch it. So, okay, fine. And so I said, well, so then they got this new series. I think it's called, what is it? Strange New Worlds. I watched it. Loved it too. It's about Captain Pike, which was precursor to Kirk.
He's in the very pilot of the original series.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And so anyway, I thought it was very good. It was to me, it was more, that series was more in line to what the original, I think, concept was, which is what you said, which was scientific exploration, finding new worlds, trying to make contact with new civilizations, that whole thing, right? To boldly go where no man has gone before, right? Whereas the Picard series, it was all about nothing but war. War, fighting, war, cursing. And it wasn't just like an occasional damn or hell. It was F-bombs right and left. It was really very, very adult in nature. And so I tried to say, well, yeah, but this is on a paper, you subscribe to it. It's not, the original Star Trek generation. All those was actually aired on television, so it's different. They said, no, it's. And so I'm going back and I'm watching these original movies or TV series and stuff. There was cursing in it, right?
Yeah.
But it was very mild, and it was not the bulk of the dialogue. And I will give it to them when I went, compared it to this new, series that's over on Paramount. The bulk of the language was cursing. It was not just. It did not seem like it. So to me, it was like, okay, if the whole thing about it was Star Trek is the human society had evolved to a place to where they were enlightened, right? And there was no more war. They had done away with starvation and hungriness, and they had developed all these medical things to where, people, simple diseases and stuff were treated, right? There was no more problems with healthcare. There was no more, people had places to live because when they were able to replicate and manufacture all this stuff, there was no cost associated with it per se. So therefore there was no more fighting to get ahead, right? And that type of stuff. And so for it to be devolved back into where there was not enlightened talk and stuff, I understood then what they were saying. I still enjoyed the series because I felt like it gave a closure to the characters within the Next Generation world or universe. But I understood what they said and why they wouldn't watch it, because to them it was a slap in the face, and I got that. I 100% get that. And so
I totally agree with that assessment of Picard. And I will add to that DX9 was also primarily about war. It did it very well. Although it was a grueling watch, I will say. I think part of the issue was, one, this was Picard outside of service, so that's one big reason why his personality was different. The other thing that people neglect is that the Federation has always had the fundamental idea of the Federation has problems, and one of the biggest glaring issues is that the Federation has the biggest policy, the biggest one, is that you do not interfere with other societies, and that is regardless of if they're starving, dying of disease, etc., etc. We don't do that. It's a thing, and many people disagree with that. And why wouldn't you? So there's always been that kind of infighting in the Federation, and I think you can especially see that throughout actually many series that when the captains act how you expect them to act, a lot of times they go against the Federation's wishes, because the Federation is ultimately a government society. As far as being different than people expect and hard to watch, I fully see that. I found Picard hard to watch simply because, honestly, it's hard for me to see them jump in age that much, since I still watch a lot of the original series. Data in particular looks intense, and the actor who plays him is amazing. He knows He knows how to tap dance and do all the things. So to see him at a much more advanced age and kind of evil was it was rough. I get why that might make you feel ways about Luke. I fully don't disagree with that. I think they just wanted to kill Luke in our world, in our minds and hearts, as much as they wanted to kill him in the series, because I think that Disney feels that's the only way to really make Star Wars their own franchise. And I think it's something that Disney does, and they do well, generally speaking. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I can't imagine we're calling the generation after Alpha Generation Beta, because I feel like a lot of people are going to have issue with that. But whatever.
Yeah, betas. Yeah.
Whole
I mean,
generation of
I think they
betas.
should own it.
They might, Gen Z is pretty feral, so.
Oh my God, what if it's like the most cuck generation is Generation Beta? Just poor guys. Oh man. That's bad.
I actually, this is a trend going around. I live in the tri-state area. A lot of men just being like, yeah, this is what I want. So, there's still.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I you know what? I wouldn't even blame them. I'd give them accolades for it, honestly. I'd be like, you guys are brave and stunning.
Listen, if you know what you like, go for it. There's plenty of people willing to help you out.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Keep also saying something.
I was going to say, guys, I hate to do this, but I have to end this because I've got to get to some other stuff. But we've had a wonderful conversation, I feel.
We only talked about Star Wars for over an hour ago.
I know.
In some people's measure, we haven't even started.
I know. And that's the thing. These are the kind of conversations can go on for hours and hours and hours and hours. So
I went to Star Wars and Disney and built a droid and gave it a spunky personality, and now it scares my dog whenever I want to.
There you go.
Base. That's good. I like that. Yeah, this conversation started a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But here we are.
Yeah. So listen, guys, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. Gigi. You have a great day, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Yes, you do.
Max, thanks you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Have a great day, buddy.
You too, dude. Have a good one.
All right. So, guys, I think I'm going to end it. I'm talked out. My vocal cords are shot. Had some good conversation. Different perspectives, people who are not directly tied to a particular franchise or whatever. They have a little bit different, sometimes, maybe not necessarily, how do I want to put this? They have a unclouded view of things. Whereas if you are a fan of the franchise, you want things to be a certain way because you're a fan and you want things to be, whatever. And so when they come in and do things that are disruptive, it can be almost like a betrayal for you. And that's kind of how I felt. I felt betrayed. Just like my buddies felt betrayed with what they did to Picard. So I get that. I understand that. And I understand the passion. And here's the thing, right? Have wonderful conversations like we had today. Be passionate about it, but be respectful. Just say, okay, yeah, all right. I don't necessarily agree with some of Gigi's points, and that's fine. We don't have to agree. I still respect her. I think she's a wonderful person. But that being said, whatever it is that you're passionate about, be passionate about it, and enjoy it. Bottom line. And on that note, guys, remember to go check out some of these creators. If you haven't subbed to Joey Westside's channel, go sub, check it out. I'm really optimistic, looking forward to that. I think him interviewing people within the community, hopefully getting them to put down their shticks or whatever that they have, and just be real. I think could be wonderful. I'm looking forward to that. Really, truly, I am. Let's see. There's been some really good stuff that's dropped. Like I said, Now Recording Boys, they had a live stream the other night, was very interesting. They've also dropped their video on Jalen. That's an interesting video to go listen to. Mitch, Shuckmouth Mitch, did a live stream yesterday, was very good. I listened to it yesterday afternoon, was very good. Xylee did a stream yesterday where she was talking about pearly, just pearly things or whatever it is. That was very interesting. She really doesn't like her, and I can kind of understand why. She does say some things that are kind of weird, even to me. But anyway, go check out these guys. Check out these creators. Check out D-Max. Watch his Twitter feed. He's putting some pretty interesting little Twitter videos and things when he's not trying to be a wisecracking memer, that are kind of funny, entertaining. He just did one not too long ago. We watched it yesterday. Breaking news on iDubbbz. I don't know how he did it, but somehow he got access to some of the recordings and stuff that wound up on the cutting room floor, and he put it out for us to enjoy. Very interesting. Go check it out. But anyway, until tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, clear as mud. You can hear Gigi again, myself, Eva, Seth, and I think Banana is going to maybe be able to be there this Sunday. I'm not for sure. Not for sure what we're going to talk about, but looking forward to it nonetheless. Until then, remember, guys, keep your powder dry and look for me in the funny papers.